Chapter 753, Blood Moon Wedding, 7. Until the moment before she pulled out star wings, Desert Dragon Zaka watched the wedding farce with a kind of pleasure, or even a sense of schadenfreude. Human beings are hopelessly stupid. Even if we don't invade them, they will fight each other themselves. As expected, it is better for the world to be ruled by dragons. Only the world where the dragons are located at the top of all creatures is the perfect world. Maybe she can give herself the title of Virtuous Dragon. Well, Virtuous Dragon Zaka, that's not bad. However, such a leisurely and happy mood completely collapsed at the moment of seeing star wings. That sword, the god weapon, who has destructive power, Shaheen's sword. Why does the prince of this kingdom have this sword? This sword has a more beautiful and shining shape than the sun, moon, and stars. It's Shaheen's god weapon. As soon as she saw star wings, by comparing the size of Yunshi and star wings, she immediately figured out the truth. Shaheen, in fact, is the prince of this kingdom. Shaheen equals prince. This unprecedented truth blew the whole person of Desert Dragon Zaka into a blur of consciousness. Impossible, impossible, impossible. That Shaheen, who proposed to her and had a happy date with her, finally let her admit the engagement, was the prince? That Shaheen. It is said that she went back to her hometown to get married. She is in a hurry. I envy such a talented swordsman. In the chest, there is some kind of burning feeling in the surging. If you can't bear it, you don't need to. Shaheen, it's you. Desert Dragon Zaka tore open her cloak, pulled out her god weapon, the Star of the Sand, and gave a shocking roar to the prince who dared to be unfaithful. Ha, sister, is he your Shaheen? Ice Dragon Zaka stared at her irrational sister. It was the first time that she had seen the expression that was about to eat people on her sister's face. As proud dragons, they don't have the habit of eating intelligent creatures. It can make her elder sister show the expression of wanting to eat people, which means her mood has reached an uncontrollable state. Shaheen, answer me, why do you break our engagement? Even if the blood moon is high in the sky, Desert Dragon Zaka rushes forward without hesitation and roars at Yunshi, who is sweating in the back. This is not spiritual pollution like the blood moon, but the real dragon roar. The human beings on the ground are stunned just by the aftershocks. Well, it's a very difficult day. On the astrological tower at the top of the king's city, Robin helplessly started the magic shield that the city would only launch in an emergency, and temporarily isolated the horrible battleground that was enough to destroy the whole kingdom into the sky. Yunshi's forehead drops huge sweat. Why does Zero appear at this time? Has she not been bombarded away by his star wings, flying to the far end of the horizon? What's more, what's the engagement? Where did it come from? Engagement? Dad, who is this? Where did this rude woman come from? The sudden appearance of Zaka made the mother and daughter who were going to fight slightly distract their attention. The giant stupid spider and the black flame demon beetle also watched the unexpected guest. We don't have an engagement, Zero, and I'm not called Shaheen. Yunshi never thought that pulling out star wings would cause such a disaster. When did he have an engagement with Zero? It's totally Zero's own mistake. When he unleashed star wings to blow Zero to the other side of the horizon, he thought that they should never meet again. Even if they met, she would hate himself. After all, he almost killed Zero. When he pulled out star wings, Yunshi knew that he had to face his own black history. People would know that their prince went to the champion night competition and also won the championship. It's really a history that he doesn't want anyone to know. I know you are the prince of this kingdom. Desert Dragon Zaka grins at the star wings in Yunshi's hand. With this sword as evidence, even Yunshi can't make an explanation. It's this guy who cheated on my sister's feelings and abandoned her. Human beings are hopelessly bad. Ice Dragon Zaka's sneer made the scene fall into a more terrible state. They are lying, because Dad likes me. White Moon looks at Desert Dragon Zaka with dismissive eyes. At a glance, she knows Desert Dragon Zaka hasn't experienced a good education. Dad won't like such a person. This kind of person is absolutely not worthy of my dad. She's not even qualified to be my dad's maid. This taste. You are? The queen of Assyria smelt some familiar taste from desert dragon Zaka and frowned a little. Shaheen, answer me a question. Desert dragon Zaka completely ignored the Assyrian queen and White Moon. Now, she felt that her body was boiling with infinite power. The endless wild power gave her the courage to challenge everything. Ancient gods? K off. I'm the child of the original dragon, desert dragon Zaka, who dominates the fate of the world. Zero. She looks at desert dragon Zaka's angry face with a sense of inexplicable emptiness. This sense of oppression, this fierce momentum, and, most importantly, the silent complaints in the vertical pupil always make She's mind emerge a familiar figure. In the middle of the distant continent, a green light rose to the sky, and the original giant dragon in deep sleep, the source of the most terrible disaster in the world, gave out a roar that shocked the world. Shaheen, you promised to marry me. At this moment, Desert Dragon Zaka is not fighting alone. Chapter 754, Blood Moon Wedding, 8. She looks at Desert Dragon Zaka and shakes his head regretfully. It's a misunderstanding, Zero. I didn't make an engagement with you. It's true. Although they had a fierce fight and had a good date, she didn't say a word about the marriage proposal. To propose to a girl before his marriage. She's morals have not degenerated to this level. If he did, he would never be a gentleman again. The fatal blow made Desert Dragon Zaka suddenly stupid. As I said, elder sister, you are deceived. How could this swindler make such a mistake? Ice Dragon Zaka looks at she with dismissive eyes. Her impression of she is instantly reduced by 1,000 points, even though the number is already negative. Human beings are unbelievable creatures. We Zakas are the real rulers of this land. You have to pay for cheating my sister. She was stunned. So he knew from the mouth of Ice Dragon Zaka the real name of the Zero he was dating. Just the name Zaka gives she a bad feeling. This Zaka, is she? Prince of mankind. Today is the day of your kingdom's demise. The one who makes my sister so sad should die. In the name of Ice Dragon Zaka, I pronounce you a capital crime. Ice Dragon Zaka seems to give a reasonable impression, but she would immediately become cold and ruthless when her sister was involved. She is more powerful and cruel than Desert Dragon Zaka, the Emperor of Ice and Snow. Get ready for battle. Frost Dragon Teeth. Designated target. The whole kingdom. Start the countdown of the forbidden spell. Iceland. 10, 9. Wait. Desert Dragon Zaka grabs her sister's ice-type god weapon. Her wrist is covered with snow-white ice crystals. Ice Dragon Zaka is shocked and breaks the countdown of the forbidden spell. Shaheen, I'll ask you one more question. Ice Dragon Zaka never saw the almost desperate look on her sister's face, as if praying for something. It is clear that her sister is around, and conquering the world is only a matter of time in theory. Why does her sister feel so unhappy and even lose hope for the world? Zakas are the children blessed by the original dragon, should be the creatures who are loved by the whole world and enjoy all happiness and glory. Shaheen, have you really never liked me? Shaheen, does our time together mean nothing to you? Shaheen, you know who I am now. Are you afraid of me? Do you want to kill me? Obviously, she said she would ask one question, but she asked 3 questions one after another. My father's favorite, of course, is me. White Moon doesn't want the rhythm to fall into the hands of Desert Dragon Zaka. She feels a slight crisis from her. It's strange that this non-human guy would tangle with her father. She's obviously an outsider who doesn't even have the qualification to be my dad's maid. Mumu is much better than her. Dragon, go back to your nest. The queen of Assyria raised her fingertips and 3,000 spider blades flew up behind her. Answer her, despicable prince. Your answer will determine the fate of the world. Ice Dragon Zaka clenched her teeth and looked at Shi, who was confused. She also raised the Frost Dragon's teeth in her hand. Strange, what happened to her today? Ice Dragon Zaka thinks she's not right. She's very wrong. She would never be so impulsive and irrational. It's impossible to explain what happened to the blood boiling in her body at the moment. She is a rational dragon, and she will rule the ice and snow world in the future. Zero, Yunshi takes a deep breath, asks his own heart, and then answers the three questions. There's no engagement. It's just a little misunderstanding. Our time together is not meaningless. It's a very happy time. If we can meet in different worlds, maybe the future will be different. I don't hate you or fear you. Even now that I know you are Desert Dragon Zaka, I want to be your friend. Well, that's the answer. Yunshi thinks it's a perfect response. Make your position clear, and then tell Desert Dragon Zaka that she and he are friends rather than lovers. In fact, Yunshi's friends are very few. When he was dating Desert Dragon Zaka, he felt the free atmosphere. The pseudonym Zero has a natural, unrestrained wild sex appeal. At the same time, there is a kind of clumsiness that you can do whatever you want. He always thinks that if he didn't meet Hua, but grew up in a strange world, it might become like this. Yes, go away, stupid Desert Dragon Zaka. White Moon made a face at her. Give up, Zaka. This is not where you should be. On the external position, the Queen of Assyria has the same opinion. Even if they want to fight for the prince's ownership, they will never let others get involved in their relationship with the prince. Even a powerful dragon has no qualification. See, the fox's tail is exposed. This prince is not qualified to be liked by you at all, my sister. Elder sister, you'd better forget him quickly and start conquering the world with me. Ice Dragon Zaka despised Yunshi 10,000 times and almost trampled him under with her own feet. No engagement. The first answer of Yunshi almost made Desert Dragon Zaka lose her mind and finally realized that her engagement with Yunshi was a joke from the beginning. Our time together. If, maybe, the future. Yunshi's second answer shocked Desert Dragon Zaka, and it seemed that something began to light up in her eyes. I don't hate you, nor afraid of you. We are friends. The final answer confirms Desert Dragon Zaka's belief. Yes, it's a relationship between friends now, but as long as we go further, we can become lovers. Desert Dragon Zaka got it. She understands everything. Chapter 755. The Wedding of the Blood Moon, 9. Well, let's date again. That's the answer from Desert Dragon Zaka, a silly, kind of cute answer. It doesn't even matter if there is no engagement, even if it starts with us being friends. The word, give up, doesn't exist in Desert Dragon Zaka's dictionary. Yunshi is stupid. Dad, that dragon's head is broken? White Moon blinked and looked pitifully at Desert Dragon Zaka, who was almost incoherent. Love, what a poison. On this point, the Queen of Assyria and her daughter held exactly the same thought. My God, sister, do you really think so? Ice Dragon Zaka was shocked, worried about gains and losses, and even almost cried out. Is this still the familiar Desert Dragon Zaka who goes straight ahead without considering the consequences? Well, it's good to restart as a friend. No matter what, I want Shaheen. This pursuit made Yunshi feel more familiar with the feeling. Hua, she's really just like you. Ice Dragon Zaka finally felt disappointed in her sister. That prince, son of a bitch, rotten man. The girl's voice echoed in the sky, all accusations against someone. What restarts as a friend? Sister, don't be fooled by such people. Who are we? Ice Dragon Zaka raises her index finger, points to the sky and the earth, releasing the unique, domineering atmosphere of the original giant dragon. We are Zakas. Driven by her sister, Desert Dragon Zaka suddenly woke up. Yes, who are they? Zaka, the original dragon's shadow, is endowed with life by the great original dragon and born from the world's original power. We are masters of the world. The master of the world in the future. Every time Ice Dragon Zaka said it, she was more powerful. She did not know what was wrong with her. She was angry when she saw her sister's ingratitude. The name of Zaka can't be trampled on like this. We are the kings of the world. The flame in the eyes of Desert Dragon Zaka was burning again. The power from the original dragon is constantly flowing in her body, bringing incomparable confidence and courage. Yes, so even if this guy is a jerk, an ant who is not worthy of being trampled to death, if you really like him, then take him away. Ice Dragon Zaka holds up her frost dragon teeth. You must recognize this engagement even if you don't like it. Instigated by this dragon, but you also want to pretend that you don't know anything? Death penalty. Oh, yes, it can be like this. Shaheen, marry me, or I will destroy the kingdom. After her sister said this, Desert Dragon Zaka, who suddenly woke up, finally found out that she still had this choice. She is not human. Why should she abide by the moral rules of human beings? The dragon race is a natural treasure-collecting race. For her, is there anything more precious than Shaheen in the world? No, even if there are golden mountains and silver mountains are piled in front of her, it is not as good as her love for Shaheen. Even the dominance of the whole world is not as important as her engagement to Shaheen. Shaheen did not say that he wanted to marry her, but the engagement was not a false thing, which she really believed. Even if it is a lie, she will make it true, which is more important than world conquest. Sisters with one heart can break everything. The star of the sand was held high and sent out the resonant sound of shaking the world with frost dragon teeth. It seems that idiots are still hopeless. Mom, kill them first. In the face of a sudden foreign enemy, White Moon did not dare to take them lightly. The contradiction between her and her mother is the internal contradiction of the family. The conflict between her and Zaka sisters is that of foreign enemies. Original Dragon. Are you going to wake up? The Queen of Assyria looked at the far end of the horizon and saw the green light rising from the sky. The seal of the Forgotten Ruins will not seal the dragon that will destroy the world. This dragon's anger is irresistible. If it wakes up from its deep sleep, the first thing it will do will be the destruction of the whole world. We'll seal the two Zaka sisters first. The Queen of Assyria and White Moon are united in fighting against foreign enemies. The relationship between them is so wonderful. To conquer the world. Ice Dragon Zaka suddenly changes back to the body of a giant ice dragon, which is to get revenge for her sister. For love. Desert Dragon Zaka also becomes the real body of Desert Dragon. The strong and powerful Desert Dragon, and the elegant and beautiful Ice Dragon. The Blood Moon. The cold underground lake, with the new moon hanging high, is the dream of ancient gods captured by White Moon, the nightmare of eternal loneliness. May the old Assyria never be alone. Thousands of years have not changed. The forgotten ruins in the long river of time. The cursed crimson moon stares at this land, which is the dream of the Queen of Assyria and the reflection of Millennium Assyria. Kill all your opponents, and there will be no rival, sister. Ice Dragon Zaka said the perfect answer, which fully conforms to the world view of the Zakas. Yes, that's it. Love is obtained by your own hands. It's good to get married first and then fall in love. Engagement. I don't care whether the engagement exists. Desert Dragon Zaka was excited and spread out her wings. At last you understand, sister. Ice Dragon Zaka was glad to see her familiar sister back. Yes, that's her sister. She always thinks of nothing and goes in a straight line toward her own destination, smashing everything in front of her. Whether it's the country, the princess, or the queen. In this world, only the winner can laugh at the end. World conquest is like this. Love is like this. Zakas shall never be Kaf. Zakas shall forever be natural kings. Now it's the end of the world. She did not have time to stop. The battle directly entered the peak. At this moment, he deeply realized a famous saying. If you don't die, you won't die. The war that decides the fate of the world has broken out. The Zaka sisters versus the Queen of Assyria and White Moon. Chapter 756. The Wedding of the Blood Moon. 10. Endless ice and snow turned into scattered ice rings, like the most beautiful fireworks, spreading to the earth from a corner of the sky. Ice Dragon Zaka flew high above the sky, declaring towards the earth, under her feet and the sky, that she is the master of this ice and snow world and the strongest king. Around her dragon wings, ice crystals all over the sky are falling silently around her. Gradually, the boundless sky was filled with snowflakes made by her wings, and the astonishing cold air scattered between heaven and earth with her as the center. With the swing of her dragon wings, the cold air gathered in the air naturally converged because of her idea. Cracking. These cold and piercing cold air converged into a strong wind. After being involved in those blue ice crystals, the force turned into ice, snow, and bright frost, which covered the whole sky. She hovered and circled in the sky with pride, and then went straight into the sky. With her flying, the frightful frozen air blooms like fireworks in the sky. Then, countless petals of silver snow floating down from the sky. Ice and snow ring covering the whole sky. Under the cover of ice and snow, the ancient ruins, which were already extremely lonely, became more desolate and lonely, just like the fragments completely forgotten in time. The frozen air has gone deep into the ground, which makes a thick layer of frost hanging between the still walls, grass leaves, and vines in the ruins. In the moonlight of the blood moon, the silver earth reflects the blood color, just like the blood on the bride's wedding dress. The queen of Assyria sits on the throne of the giant, stupid spider, surrounded by a collapsed palace. Her expression is arrogant and cold, quiet. It seems that the world is only her. Memories of those sad and happy, those who had moved her, angry, sad, warm. Like the night breeze and the quiet tide, waves and waves appear in front of her eyes, flowing in her heart. Everything is gone. She is not the dead who will sleep forever. In the wonderful eternity, even death will disappear. Except heaven's punishment, seal maker. Ice Dragon Zaka symbolizes the calm and cruel side of the original dragon. When she laughs, she is as innocent as a child, but she will never be merciful when fighting. She is the type who will use all her strength no matter who the opponent is. Ice and Snow Land gives the birth of the fearless girl. Compare Desert Dragon Zaka to the storm of hot sand, then Ice Dragon Zaka is the master of ice and snow. Hum, hum, hum. Behind the queen of Assyria, 3,000 spider blades rose to the sky automatically, locking in the huge body of Ice Dragon Zaka. In front of my ice and snow, even time should be still. Ice Dragon Zaka spirals up into the sky and dances with the blood moon. A god weapon in the shape of dragon teeth appears behind Ice Dragon Zaka. It is a gift from the original giant dragon, which is exclusive to Ice Dragon Zaka. Target captures. Quantity, 3,000. Launch the super forbidden spell. Freeze the land. Ice Dragon Zaka released the ice-type forbidden spell sealed in the god weapon, which can only be used 3 times a day. The endless ice crystal turns into the frozen gas covering thousands of miles, freezes everything, and turns the whole world into a pure white. Pure white without a trace of other colors. Turn the whole world into the deep white of ice and snow. The white frost that no life is allowed to survive. Less than 3 seconds after the ice forbidden spell was launched, there was no other color in the ruins of the once royal city of Assyria. The white of ice and snow dominated the world. Except the blood moon in the sky, nothing is not frozen. With her own efforts, Ice Dragon Zaka turned this area into an iceland. She believed that there was no living person under the ice and snow. In a way, the answer is right. Because her opponent has long dead. It was the dead who came back 1,000 years later to fight against her. No, it's the millennial queen who lost the concept of death for a long time. Ding, ding, ding. One blade after another that was frozen in the ice and snow flying again. At the same time, the figure of the giant stupid spider also broke through the ground with murderous intention in the 8 compound eyes. 3,000 spider blades flew like a storm, leaning toward Ice Dragon Zaka flying in the sky. How could it be? Ice Dragon Zaka flies higher and faster, spits out powerful ice dragon breath, and constantly knocks down these fierce spider blades. Ice dragon breath, which can freeze all flesh and blood, has little effect on these blood-red spider blades. Even if part of the spider blades are frozen temporarily, the remaining spider blades will quickly break the ice crystal on the companion's body and chase after the king of ice and snow in an extremely crazy posture. Ice wall. Forced to do so, Ice Dragon Zaka cast a series of crystal-clear ice walls around her, more than 10 meters thick. Ding, ding, ding. The spider blades, which once battered Yunshi to death, repeatedly shot at these ice walls, instantly penetrated half of the ice walls, and were still constantly rotating and cutting these solid ice walls. Ice Dragon Zaka has a bad premonition that the Queen of Assyria, who looks weak and has blood on her abdomen, is more tough than she thought. Worthy of being the seal maker, the Millennium Queen coming out of the forgotten ruins. However, She is not the ordinary herself today. She doesn't know what happened, but after she decided to help her sister fight the shameless mother and daughter, her body was full of constant strength. Like the great original dragon watching the battle, she even saw a faint green light on her head reflected from the ice wall. Green is the true color of the great original dragon, symbolizing the strongest color in the world. If one forbidden spell is not enough, then launch the second. The forbidden spell can only be used 3 times a day, but Ice Dragon Zaka did not hesitate to release the second forbidden spell. On the ground, the Queen of Assyria sighs and gently raises her right hand. The thumb is up, the index finger is out, and the other 3 fingers are clenched to form a line between herself and Ice Dragon Zaka. The 8 compound eyes of the giant stupid spider instantly locked the target that was preparing for the double forbidden spell. What was that? Ice Dragon Zaka, who had never fought this spider, had a heart attack. The next second, a bloody light blade shot from the compound eyes of the giant stupid spider and penetrated Ice Dragon Zaka's body in the sky. Chapter 757. The Wedding of the Blood Moon, 11. Ga. Ice Dragon Zaka's whole body was unnaturally stagnant, and her body was pierced by the bloody light blade and almost completely still in the sky. The second forbidden spell, which had already been launched, was completely interrupted. Countless ice crystals were flying around her beautiful body, becoming extremely messy. 2. The Queen of Assyria, once again, pointed to the head of Ice Dragon Zaka. Another bloody light blade was shot out, and this time, Ice Dragon Zaka responded in time. At the critical moment, she leaned her dragon head over and only let the strange bloody light blade brush her dragon horn. At this time, the power of the first bloody light blade appeared in Ice Dragon Zaka's body. The chilling bloodlines spread rapidly and incomparably from the place where they were penetrated, and soon covered half of Ice Dragon Zaka's body. What's this? Ice Dragon Zaka instinctively felt that something was wrong, especially in the area of the heart that had been crossed by the bloody light blade, and convulsed uncontrollably. On the ground, the Queen of Assyria pulls out a translucent bloody magic dagger with graceful movements. It was the magic sword used by the Millennium Queen. The name of the sword, Assyria's Witchblade. It is an ancient god weapon inherited by the royal family of Assyria. It is a magic sword restricted to women. The Queen of Assyria once used to defeat the arrogant dragon with this magic dagger, so that those dragon people withdrew from the mainland and made the kingdom of Assyria an unprecedented glory. Therefore, this witchblade is also known as the Queen's Blade, which symbolizes the supreme power of the witch in the kingdom. This god weapon was originally like a crystal sword. It was used to control the huge magic power of the Queen of Assyria. If necessary, it could even be transformed into a huge lightsaber, tearing the sky. It's just, after that night of the blood moon, everything changed. The Queen of Assyria, who killed all her enemies, was eventually contaminated and assimilated by the blood moon. As a symbol of the Queen of Assyria, the Witchblade has become a part of the blood moon. It is just different from the Night Kings who burned themselves out. The Queen of Assyria was favored by the ancient gods and gained the power of the blood moon. That's the ominous power of the curse. If the Queen of Assyria in the past was a kind-hearted witch, then she is the one who symbolizes blood and death now. Her magic also changed from light type and water type to blood type magic. At this moment, the blade in her hand becomes the blade of the blood moon. The bloody light blade that runs through Ice Dragon Zaka's body is the landmark used to launch blood magic. Slowly holding the witch blade in her hand, the Queen of Assyria smiles and inserts the magic dagger into her heart. Chi. A large amount of blood spattered from the Queen of Assyria's chest and dyed her white wedding dress red. Grera Afag. Surrounded by multiple ice walls in the sky and covered with ice armor, Ice Dragon Zaka uttered a scream. The bloody blood burst out from all the places covered with blood-colored lines. A large amount of dragon blood burst out of Ice Dragon Zaka's body, and almost a third of her heart was blown out. This kind of injury would have been fatal if she was human. Even though she is a dragon known for her powerful vitality, the curse and blood explosion from the Queen of Assyria had caused a heavy blow to Ice Dragon Zaka. She would have fallen from the sky if she hadn't been at the peak of her life. guarded by the power of the original dragon? The Queen of Assyria thoughtfully pulled the dagger stained with her own blood out of her chest, then held out her little hand again, and took the position of locking Ice Dragon Zaka. Astonished, it is the first time since her birth that Ice Dragon Zaka has suffered such a terrible injury. The curse of blood burst from her interior, completely ignored her element resistance attributes. Even if she fell into the volcano, it would not be worse than that moment. When the curse of blood burst in her heart, if not for the green light, she might have returned to the embrace of the original dragon. What a terrible curse! What a strange self-mutilation technique! Is this the master of the Forgotten Ruins, the ancient sealmaker? Her strength is even more powerful than she predicted. She didn't hesitate to put her god weapon through her chest. Doesn't she feel pain? The answer is, how can she feel no pain? The principle of the witch blade to launch a curse is that it needs to give the user 3 times the damage before the damage is fed back to the target who has planted the curse. This also means that the wound on the Queen of Assyria's body caused by the sword is more than 3 times that of Ice Dragon Zaka. Ice Dragon Zaka's heart is protected by the power of the original dragon, while the heart of the Queen of Assyria is really penetrated by herself. 3. The Queen of Assyria did not specifically lock the head of Ice Dragon Zaka this time, but aimed at her huge wings. Bad. Ice Dragon Zaka tried her best to avoid the lock of the Queen of Assyria. The bloody light blade flashed away. With the positioning of the 3,000 spider blades, the Queen of Assyria perfectly hit Ice Dragon Zaka's dragon wing. Just like the blood streak spreading in the heart area just now, the same blood color lines spread rapidly and incomparably on Ice Dragon Zaka's blue wings. I'm done. Ice Dragon Zaka looked at the cursed lines spreading on her wings and immediately realized that fighting with the Queen of Assyria was equal to suicide. Even if the power of the dragon posture is more than 10 times that of human posture, the flaw is that it is too big. The Queen of Assyria made a comparison of Ice Dragon Zaka's body, and then without hesitation, inserted the witch blade into her arm, making a violent stroke. In the sky, Ice Dragon Zaka's wings were instantly torn apart, and tons of dragon blood flowed from the sky like a bloody curtain. Ice Dragon Zaka could no longer maintain her flying posture and fell from the sky with a wall of ice around her. In a flash of blue light, Ice Dragon Zaka finally gave up the advantage of dragon posture and became a human female again. The blood veins in the arms and heart regions disappeared after the Queen of Assyria detonated them. After all, the dragon's constitution is not fake, and it has a high resistance to any external forces. Dragon teeth. Clenching her teeth, Ice Dragon Zaka stabbed the frost dragon teeth into the ground. In the next second, countless ice blades burst into the sky, like the teeth of countless dragons rising from the ground. The battle has completely become white-hot. Chapter 758. The Wedding of the Blood Moon, 12. It is also the Battle of the Dragons. However, the battle between Desert Dragon Zaka and White Moon is quite different. Ice Dragon Zaka and the Queen of Assyria are more like wizards. The Frost Dragon Teeth and the Blood Moon Blade are typical long-range attack weapons. But the battle between Desert Dragon Zaka and the Black Flame Demon Bug is like diamond cutting diamond. White Moon stepped her barefoot onto the body of the Black Flame Demon Bug, dominating the 69 most dangerous demon bug in the starry sky. 2 black tentacles turned into huge black flaming whips, which severely bombarded the huge body of Desert Dragon Zaka. Ruarar. The dragon's scales, which are invulnerable to fire and water, are burned with 2 black marks. Desert Dragon Zaka lowers her head and directly hits the head of the black demon bug. Compared with the nearly 50-meter body of Desert Dragon Zaka, the Black Flame Demon Bug, which is only about 10 meters long, looks small and exquisite. However, the power of the bug doesn't depend on body shape. In other people's eyes, ants that seem to be able to trample to death with 1 foot can easily lift objects more than 400 times their own weight, while it's far from the strongest amongst all insects. Some beetles can lift objects thousands of times their own weight. The appearance of the Black Flame Demon Bug seems to be more inclined to longicorn. This is a kind of insect known for its absolute strength and super strong crustacean. After countless times of evolution, its power has become more terrifying. Even the desert dragon impact, which was strong enough to smash the towering mountains, didn't make the black flame demon bug retreat. Instead, it took the initiative to rush up without fear. It used its hard head and the extremely different body size of desert dragon Zaka to fight head-on. The forces of both sides collided with each other and then fought, making the ground emit a huge wail, forming a large-scale earthquake. Numerous spider-web-like cracks spread from the place where the two giants collide. Visible shock waves swept the land, and countless gravel even flew to the sky, forming small mushroom clouds. All the hot sand burst out and even formed a storm. This is a natural disaster. It is created by the giant dragon and demon bug. It is enough to make the human species extinct. If the battlefield had deviated from the royal city, the whole city would have been buried in this spreading earthquake. Trachoma, storm. Desert dragon Zaka has never felt that she is in such a good state that the magic in her body almost forms a huge wave. Stepping on the desert land, she did not step back, even if she was facing the black demon bug, whose strength was stronger than her own. Instead, she turned all the strength of the desert into a part of herself. For sand eyes are suspended at the same time. This strange magical creation turns this land into a landscape of endless yellow sand. As long as the battlefield is located in this desert area, Desert Dragon Zaka has no reason to lose. In contrast, the Black Flame Demon Bug is not supported by any external forces, but the Zerg creatures are natural invaders, and they are used to any harsh environment when they fight. The worse the environment is, the more it can stimulate the evolution factors of Zerg. Two long black whiskers transformed into an antenna-like structure and began to absorb the force of the blood moon from White Moon's body. The dark black compound eyes of the black demon bug also brought a trace of crazy blood color. Evolution starts. Direction. Fury. Bloodthirsty. Crush. Even the power of the abyss can be used by it. This is a kind of fighting race that can be consumed and used by any power in order to conquer, kill, and become the strongest race. There is no such thing as depravity because this black flame demon bug is a complete fighting machine, the king of destruction. After absorbing the power of the blood moon, the body of the black flame demon bug became more and more huge, and the blood-colored lines similar to the curse of the Queen of Assyria appeared on the exoskeleton tissue. Pollution. Start. The ground on which the black flame demon bug trod began to twist and transform, and countless strange runes spread out. Without thousands of years of wisdom and skill accumulated by her mother, the Queen of Assyria, the tactic White Moon chose was to fight with more strength than her opponent. It's immature, but it works directly. After getting the power of the blood moon, the black tentacles turned into a bloody whip, which pounded on the back of Desert Dragon Zaka. Being attacked by black flames, the dragon scales of Desert Dragon Zaka were eroded, and the bloody lines immediately began to invade the body of Desert Dragon Zaka. Hey! With a roar, Desert Dragon Zaka's four trachomas, which dominate the desert territory, rise at the same time. Sandstorm, break out. Innumerable gravel covered the sky and swept the body of the black demon bug. At this time, the chance to win depends on who is crueler to herself, who can bite teeth to hold on. No one will retreat. No one will let it. You have black tentacles, and I have trachomas. If you are afraid, you lose. Look at me, Shaheen. This is my persistence. If it goes on like this, the world will be ruined. Standing at the boundary between the two battlefields and looking at the two earth-shaking battlefields, Yunshi sighed. Star Wings, what should I do? Sure enough, I have to fight. If they continue, not only the royal city, but the kingdom will be doomed. Even if I know that there will be unpredictable consequences, I can only use it. Once again, open the door of taboo. Yunshi doesn't know what is behind the door, but he has an instinctive sense of crisis about the thing behind the door. However, Yunshi has no choice. In order to save the world, to solve this huge crisis, the power of the Star Wings is necessary. Cat, open the door for me. He closed his eyes and Yunshi sees the elegant and mysterious cat again. She exists and she doesn't exist. She wasn't dead. She wasn't alive. Numerous legend-ranked strong beings hated the cat, but they were crazy looking for the existence of the cat, or the proof of its non-existence. Jumping in the infinite world line, the result is determined by observation, and the observer is determined by the result. In Yuan Hai's quadrant sword, it's the most magical and unpredictable factor. The star wings made a joyful sound of swords, and the door, once closed by Yuan Shi, was opened again. Yuan Shi is ready to wait for the burning sun wings to come again. However, after opening the door this time, it was not the pair of sacred golden and red wings, but the breath that Yuan Shi had not touched. Soft green wing gently stretched out, and then wrapped Yuan Shi's body. It's the breath of endless life. Chapter 759. The Wedding of the Blood Moon, 13. No, it's not the power of Sunwalker. Once again, opening the forbidden door that should never be opened, Yuan Shi is even ready to be burned by the flames of the sun. Yuan Shi has a vague guess about where the golden-red sun wings come from. After all, this is not the first time he has used the power from Sunwalker. This time, however, the wing from behind the doors opened by the star wings is quite different from those of the last time. It is an incomparably beautiful green wing full of the breath of life, just like the incarnation of the spirit of all living things in heaven and earth. The crystal-clear wing does not have any strange feeling, but is full of the breath of the birth of all things. And it's not a pair of wings, it's just one wing. The moment this wing appeared, Yuan Shi heard the song. It was a song of missing that had crossed the distance of time and reverberated in the world. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, small and white, clean and bright, talk to me. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, one by one. May you bloom and grow happily. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, my lovely little baby, come on and be with me. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, my little snowflake, I want to be with you every day. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, come and find me. Along with the slightly sad and full of longing song, the intelligent creatures of the whole world saw the wing and heard the song coming from the river of time. Beautiful and clear green wing, showing an eternally beautiful posture, emitting countless green light spots to fall on the earth, into the river and fall to the bottom of the abyss. Many of them fell to Yuan Shi. Unlike the sun's wings, the green wing clearly reveals part of her message. Praise you, our highest wing, the glory of green, the beauty of flying. The green wing, representing the eternal glory, spread out behind Yuan Shi, gently touching him and wrapping his body. Time changes. Yuan Shi saw a piece of green water, transparent as green gems. Hazy fog surrounded the green water, making all this seem like a dream. Under the early sun, the small trees beside the lake swaying, shedding golden lights from the shadows. The young man was sitting under the big tree beside the green water. He was wet through, but he looked forward to the bright green water. Come and play hide and seek. It seems that there is a girl's echo beside his ears. He clearly did not see her appearance, but had a feeling that the softest part of the heart is touched. The young man was looking around, but he couldn't find the girl's figure. He could only wander around the lake where the two met over and over again. On the big tree, there is graffiti. It was an umbrella, a very poorly painted umbrella with two portraits under it. One of them was stupid and funny, and the other had a strange doll in her hand, which was a doll with 3 eyes. Because of the clumsy technique of the portrait, even the gender can't be seen. But Yuan Shi immediately understood that one of them was a boy and the other was a girl. He raised his head and saw the figure of the girl. Her ability to play hide and seek was as bad as ever. Because he can always find her easily, that 3-eyed doll is too conspicuous. The girl holding the doll was laughing with her bare feet, her tiny ankle shaking and kicking down some leaves. She has a pair of watery clear eyes. That snow-white ankle, slender wrist, and weak body give him a fragile sense of art. That kind of fragility let people love her and always want to care for her. But she's not human, because there is a wing behind her, a transparent, green wing full of the breath of life. The wing can only be seen and touched by the boy. That wing is extraordinary, unique, soft, and warm, is the most beautiful wing that the boy has ever seen. What is her age? 13 or smaller. That kind of weak temperament and innocent eyes let the boy, who cannot help but immerse himself in it. Her body is soft, and she always loves to sleep. When she is around him, she always pinches his sleeve, just like a child who has lost her direction. The first time he saw her, he couldn't help but stretch out his hand to take good care of her. He has been waiting for her in that place she would not have come. How long did you wait? This time, she had well. I decide. As long as I see her again. I must say that sentence I always want to say with her. Ah, it's been a long time. It's dark and it's raining. She must be late because of the rain? It's cold and hungry. Why hasn't she come yet? By the way, in retrospect, what did she say? She said, Wait, who is she? Her name, what is it? She pressed his forehead and showed a painful expression. Why can't I remember her name? More green light spots fall on Yun. She threw the forbidden door open by the starwings. Sorry to be late. Finally, I found you. My Edelweiss. The place where the green light spot falls begins to grow a kind of beautiful floret, that is a kind of green, soft floret, from another world to convey the missing. It's the love from the highest wing in the 9 secluded seas, and a keepsake to the one she likes. You. Who is it? She can smell the faint fragrance of flowers, which are the flowers bred by the owner of the green wing for her lover. It is the flower that carries all the time so that the boy and the girl can meet and spend time together. It is the only flower in the world. My name is Wolfji. The green wings spread out and turned into countless green light spots, which wrapped Yunshi's whole body and penetrated into his soul. As if sowing seeds on Yunshi, it gave Yunshi its own strength without reservation. Different from the sun wings, this green wing, which represents the power of life, gives Yunshi extraordinary power by sacrificing itself. That's exactly what is missing from time and space, and the gift from the owner of the green wing. Chapter 760. The Wedding of the Blood Moon, 14. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, small and white, clean and bright, talk to me. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, one by one. May you bloom and grow happily. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, my lovely little baby, come on and be with me. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, my little snowflake, I want to be with you every day. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, come and find me. My lovely Edelweiss, I like you. One day, we will meet again. At that time, smile at me and welcome me. This is our unchanging agreement. Yunshi's eyes were full of tears. At that moment, his figure almost coincided with the boy waiting by the lake. The young boy tried his best to wait until the body could no longer support it. When it was dark, when the body temperature almost disappeared, the lifeline of the body was in danger. In the end, he didn't wait for the person he wanted to wait for and didn't say the words that had been prepared for a long time. On that day, the lines of the fate of both sides were completely staggered, just like the distance between the world gradually drifting away. The owner of the green wing is late for a long time. Maybe it is a period of negligible time for the creatures that can cross the sky. But for those who are in love, it is as long as a century. Sometime, mist is mist. Some people, you think she will always be by their side, always can see her, but suddenly, you will never find her. Sometimes, fate is so changeable and unpredictable. Even if you are high and have all the praise and glory of the supreme wing, you will lose your important things. Ulfji, Yunshi remembered this soft and sad name. Numerous green light spots are gathered in Yunshi's body, which is different from the violent Sunwalker's power, which is totally under the control of Yunshi. He knows nothing about how to use this power that doesn't belong to the world at all, but it's not something he needs to worry about. These forces are completely harmless to him. Instead of being lighted by the power of the Sunwalker, this power will nourish his body in reverse. The cost is that the number of these green dots is constantly decreasing, and a large number of them are disappearing every moment. It's the power built on sacrifice, the power to give Yunshi unlimited protection, wisdom, and courage. Flowers. Yunshi instinctively understood how to find the most suitable carrier for these forces. This infinite force of life has the possibility of creating all miracles. The way in which they are used to express strength is flowers. If Wolfji was here, she would be able to create infinite beautiful flowers and turn the barren land into a paradise full of flowers. What she held was just that incredible brilliance of life, an alien of the great unspeakable terror. She doesn't have the ability to create such magical flowers by himself, but she knows that there is a flower with incomparable power. Because this is also a unique flower in White Lotus Sword domain, which makes Shi's heart beat constantly and lets him peep at the biggest secret in White Lotus Sword domain. The name of that flower is Linga. In Shi's mind, the figure of the invisible flower quickly became real. It was a flower born in this god domain in a distant era. It took thousands of years for it to grow up gradually and be praised by people and become a legendary flower. It's just that it has another name in the White Lotus Sword domain. The secret treasure of White Lotus. Linga. This is the real name of the secret treasure of White Lotus. It is a holy tree with bamboo shoots and small white flowers. The blooming flowers of Linga have the power to engrave countless magics and evolve thousands of supernatural powers. However, the opening time of such a magical flower is not fixed. As long as one flower blooms from the holy tree, it can open the door of endless wisdom. Once upon a time, a sky sword picked a Linga flower and opened the way to the god sword skill. In order to thank Linga, he arranged the power to guard this White Lotus secret treasure and hoped that someone would get the same inheritance the next time Linga blossomed. His name is Yunhai the Sky Sword. Linga's flower is the supreme secret treasure of the White Lotus Sword domain, and Linga Holy Tree is the tree of wisdom rooted in the deepest world rules. You can see it, but you can't get close to it, let alone destroy it. There it is, and it doesn't exist. It is just when the Sky Sword sees it that he realizes the ultimate problem of Yunhai's quadrant sword. However, Shi doesn't need that talent, because, at the moment, the holy tree is really in the place he can touch. This is not a world of the Dragon's War, but a more complex and wonderful field. Ji sacrificed the power of one of her wings to give Shi a blessing, and gave him the power to contact all the extraordinary flowers. Together with the holy tree of Lingjia flowers, the holy tree also appeared in front of him. Linga, the root of all wisdom, symbolizes the mysteries of the universe, with infinite postures and innumerable shapes. It may be a plain grass on the road, a willow nestling together, or a long withered Bodhi tree. In different beliefs, it has different names and different attitudes. It is the tree that accompanies the Buddha's path. It is a bridge connecting heaven and earth. It is a great world tree that can breed spirits. According to the different rules of the world, Linga will take on different attitudes and have different real names. The essence of everything is that Lingjia itself is the embodiment of life and wisdom, a perfect rule commonly used in any world and a beautiful thing that human beings yearn for. Can you lend me a flower? Shi curiously placed his hand on the tree, which was still in the young posture. It's true that the holy tree in the White Lotus Sword domain is still very small and has not even given birth to self-consciousness. It is as pure as a white paper. If it wasn't for Ji's power, no one could affect the holy tree, even the Sky Sword. Because it exists in the deepest part of the world's rules. It has no natural enemies, it can't be hurt, it can't even be observed. The White Lotus secret treasure that people know is just a shadow of it left in the world. In the past, only Yunhai the Sky Sword had ever seen it and got its flowers. Chapter 761. The Wedding of the Blood Moon, 15. Shi can see that. Having gained the power gained by Ji's wing, he can clearly see the scene that even his teacher, Kasina the battle god, and Longness the Sky Sword cannot see. The flower of the holy tree Linga, the legendary White Lotus secret treasure, is about to mature. However, compared with the nearly eternal life of the holy tree Linga, this about has a very big error in terms of humans' concept of time. It will take at least 3 years for that flower to fully bloom, and the upper limit may be 100 years later. Not long ago, the breath of the White Lotus secret treasure is just a little remnant of this Linga flower, which has brought earth-shaking changes to the whole White Lotus Sword domain. When Linga's flowers really bloom, the scene in all of the White Lotus Sword domain will be unimaginable. Today's White Lotus Sword domain is not the unknown remote sword area where Yunhai the Sky Sword lived in the past. Although people can't directly observe the existence of the holy tree Linga, people deduce the future of Linga flower. Therefore, at the moment, The housing price in the upper-level area of the White Lotus Sword domain is so expensive. Countless forces are focusing on the White Lotus secret treasure that will bloom. Just one petal. Yunshi did not want to monopolize the White Lotus secret treasure. All he needs is a petal of the White Lotus secret treasure to help him solve his current problems. Although he didn't understand why the fading green light inside his body told him that he could achieve his wish by borrowing a petal from the holy tree linga. It sounds like a dream come true. It's too unrealistic. The holy tree linga sways, and the bamboo shoot-shaped tree body shows layers of lines, which makes Yunshi immerse in the endless brilliance of wisdom for a moment. These lines, every trace and every line, are the evolution of rules. The holy tree linga itself is a rare plant-type fantastic creature. The lines it engraves are the interpretation of the mysteries of wisdom and life. Without the help of Lji's power, human beings would never have seen the holy tree linga hidden in the deepest world rules. A small white flower blooms from the holy tree linga. It is the flower of wisdom with 8 leaves and the true body of the White Lotus secret treasure. According to legend, 4-leaf grass brings luck, while an 8-leaf flower represents the door to endless wisdom. At the moment, this linga flower is about to grow. Only the last petal is still partially developed. In the face of Yunshi's request, Linga generously delivers the petal that has not yet been fully developed to Yunshi. This piece of flower petal with countless regular lines, accompanied by a reassuring warm breeze, gently pasted on Yunshi's lips. The taste is as soft as a girl's lips. In a second, Yushi's mind exploded. He saw many years ago, someone standing in front of the holy tree linga and sighing. Why do people care so much about what's in front of them and don't pay attention to the more important future? If I can hold everything, can I find true happiness in the track of the present, the past, and the future? I don't know. I don't understand people's hearts. Mathematics is more suitable for me. Yunshi looked at that figure, and there is a kind of familiar nostalgia. Ah, this is a conspiracy. When the masters saw my theory, they would blow their beards and stare at me. They would take out the elf against me. Maybe they would cry out why there is a cat in this world. Hopefully, in the end, they will like my gift to the world. Sitting under the holy tree linga, someone started a huge conspiracy. A little cat that exists and doesn't exist. A cat can subvert the truth of the world and make them doubt life. A lie, repeated for 1,000 years, makes everyone believe that it is right, and then it becomes a truth. Isn't it? So if you want to practice this sword skill, you have to learn to lie, but you don't lie. You have to learn to deceive the whole world with the power of lies. The best lie is never to lie directly, but to make them think that's right. Only in this way can everything be explained. The truth of the universe and human stupidity will never change. So lies will become true and change the world. Yunshi looked at the familiar and strange figure in amazement, and finally understood what he saw. That is his most respected person in the White Lotus Sword domain. He told the truth under the holy tree linga. Everything comes from a lie that deceives the world and makes the world believe it. Perhaps this is no longer a lie, but part of the truth. What he wants to say and create will be a sword skill that will shock the whole of the endless gods' domains. It is precise because Yunshi is the inheritor of this sword skill. So now we can understand how shocking and incredible the truth is. A cat that exists and doesn't exist. Language and cognition. Behavior and phenomenon. Heart and body. Yunhai the Sky Sword's cat does not exist. At least, before he raised the question, the mathematicians and even the gods in the endless gods domains never considered the cat. That is to say, before Yunhai told the lie, the cat did not exist, while Yunhai put forward his theory that this cat, which made countless people extremely painful and suspicious of life, came into the world. Obviously, it is a lie, but even the gods are immersed in it. Obviously, it doesn't exist and even can't complete the observation, but it makes countless mathematicians crazy and even wants to kill this ghost cat. That is the lie that Yunhai the Sky Sword told to all of the endless gods' domains. A lie that no one can determine, cannot give specific rules, and even can't list mathematical formulas, which is full of contradictions. People can't doubt the existence of the cat that Yunhai said, because Yunhai has defeated countless opponents with his Yunhai's quadrant sword and embarked on the road of becoming the Sky Sword. Mathematicians tortured by the mysterious cat refused to acknowledge the existence of the cat, but could not turn a blind eye to the non-existent cat. For those who study the world's rules, they have lost their common mind when they found the cat. The more they oppose the existence of the cat, the more they fall into it. Chapter 762. The Wedding of the Blood Moon. 16. Mathematicians are all hopelessly paranoid. Before Yunhai the Sky Sword asked the question about the cat, mathematicians throughout the Endless Gods domains were carrying out an unprecedented project. This project has been helped by almost all the great beings in the Endless Gods domains. From gods to demons, and even the nameless things hidden in the abyss, they joined hands to give the greatest assistance to the largest project in the history of the Endless Gods domains. The essence of this project is to gather all the mathematical formulas and theories together to form a perfect self-consistent system. Just as 1 plus 1 is bound to be 2, the sun rises from the eastern horizon and sets on the western horizon. This project is ambitious to define the source of truth in the world and interpret all phenomena with perfect mathematical formulas. Odd, even, infinite cycle, infinitely large, infinitely small. The sum of any odd number, the sum of any even number, all the proportional arrangements, formulas, all have to get the perfect solution. They want to prove that mathematics is the highest truth in the world, the highest wisdom that can explain everything and weave everything. With the participation of many gods, this seemingly impossible task has been constantly pushed forward. This organization, which has gathered the wisdom of the entire Endless Gods domains, once let people see the highest level mathematical pyramid of the entire Endless Gods domains. From the basics such as the 9 chapters of arithmetic and geometric principles to the higher stage of calculus and algebra, to the physical origin and astronomical observation of the most advanced theories. This perfect pyramid belonging to mathematicians is being cast day by day. Everyone feels that they will become the witness of the truth, the founder of this unprecedented mathematical pyramid. These great mathematicians with different identities and races once felt that they were the people closest to the truth, and that the world's most magnificent project was about to be completed in their generation. Some optimistic people even thought that as long as there is this mathematical pyramid, even human beings with short lives can find a way to break through the hero rank and even the legend rank. Because no matter how difficult the problem is, it can be solved, can it? They built this miraculous mathematical pyramid just to solve all the problems in the world and give the answers to all the phenomena and theories in a mathematical way. As long as this pyramid is completed, human beings and other intelligent creatures will enter a new era. This is the biggest reason why gods and even demons have joined the study, because it is a theoretical path to infinite truth. Just as the Mechanist Gods domain's ultimate scientific fantasy, cyber-elf with infinite computing power, mathematicians are eager for such power. But instead of using the almost impossible infinite computing power, they use formulas and logical reasoning to build a pyramid of truth. At least, this is a closer approach to truth than the Mechanist Gods domain's fantasy. Fanatical mathematicians have even predicted the completion time of this pyramid of mathematical truth. The fastest may be decades, the longest may be a few hundred years. They will master the mathematical formula, remove the errors, expand more applications, and ultimately complete a high degree of autonomy like building blocks. As long as the question is within this system, all mathematical problems can be solved. It seems that this is the future that anyone can see, an exciting miracle. Until mathematicians met the cat. To be exact, it is a theory that someone at a certain point in time brings to the world, to all mathematicians who cling to the truth of the world. In the beginning, that question was a question about the life and death of a cat that a mathematician regarded as a joke. Next, it became the question of whether this cat exists or not. Then mathematicians went crazy and found that they couldn't give the cat a life or death answer because either answer seemed wrong. How can this be possible? How can this kind of problem exist in this world? Why does this cat's life become like this? What kind of monster is it? Mathematicians unable to give a perfect answer realized that the cat was no longer a cat itself, but a part of the world truth. They can't answer whether the cat is dead or alive, which means that there is a fatal contradiction in the perfect mathematical pyramid. It is not that one of the drawings is wrong, but that there is a structural error at the bottom of the pyramid. Because of this cat, the pyramid that should have been the greatest project in the history of the endless gods' domains collapsed. The slogans of mathematicians who adhere to the classical theory are as follows. I firmly believe that the existence of this cat is not right. I'm going to eat that cat. Damned cat. I'll kill it with a sword. I don't believe it. I'd rather if there were no cats in the world. Yunhai, give me the cat. I'll fight with you. These voices eventually turned into one thick academic work after another, accusing Yunhai the Sky Sword, the man who broke the classical mathematical theory to pieces. There was even a striking agreement among the classical mathematicians that there was definitely a problem between Yunhai and the non-existent cat, a big problem. The new mathematicians who accepted Yunhai the Sky Sword's theory had to change their world outlook and admit the existence of the cat. A study of the life and death of a cat. The ghost cat in the history of mathematics. 36 ways to test whether the cat is dead or alive. Since this cat has been haunting the history of mathematics like a ghost, human beings have had a great doubt about the classical mathematical theory which is obtained through daily experience, and has found more things close to the nature of the world. It turns out that there is no such thing as a perfect solution in the world. The mathematical pyramid that classical mathematicians want to cast did not exist at the beginning. The truth of the world is never something that can be described by formulas, but is full of uncertainty and full of chaos. And it all comes from one person's lies. He succeeded in deceiving the world and trampled on all classical mathematics with a cat that could not be described, neither existence nor non-existence, neither alive nor dead. Chapter 763. The Wedding of the Blood Moon, End. I see. This is the truth of Yunhai's quadrant sword. Yunshi gapes at the history of the sky sword presented by the holy tree Linga. Yunhai cheated the whole world and changed the whole world. So sometimes I don't have to worry too much. That's not something people like me should worry about. If I come across a ridge that I can't cross in any case, if it's a problem that can't be solved by any means, then lie. If I deceive the world, I succeed. Under the holy tree Linga, the figure who will become one of the greatest sky swords in the sky sword god's domain in the future has made a decision that will later affect the whole sky sword god's domain and make countless mathematicians cry and curse him. This problem is decided to be related to cats. Well, because I like cats. Yunshi nodded in agreement. He did not have the extraordinary mathematical talent and deduction ability of Yunhai the Sky Sword, but only this point was similar. Two people in different worlds like cats. They both see the cat that exists and doesn't exist, neither alive nor dead. The cat that steps on the world line gracefully. It is so incredible that it cannot be described in any language. I see. I can do it in this way. For a moment, Yunshi was so blessed that he suddenly thought of how to use the petal of Linga, 1/8 of White Lotus secret treasure. It's a dream, and it's not a dream. It's a trial, and it's a new world. Who can tell whether the world is real, whether I am dreaming or a butterfly in this world is dreaming? Maybe everything in this world is not true. Yunshi kisses the petal that sends out the wonderful breath of life, and begins to lie bravely to the world, to the wedding of the blood moon, which is about to trigger a world-scale tragedy. So the story begins. A long time ago. No, maybe a long time later. About 1,000 years after the fall of the ancient kingdom of Assyria. No, it's the first year after the new kingdom was established. There was a prince who met his beloved. As the prince grows older, it is time for him to have to get married, and he is distressed because he has so many lovers. So, he began to be distressed and confided his heart to the girls who might be his brides. The first bride, who was the first to make an appointment with him, a queen, came from an ancient royal family. The queen is proud and beautiful. The queen is clever and kind. The queen's country is from a distant world and is called Assyria. Answer me, my queen. Would you like to be my princess? In the sky above the royal city, the queen of Assyria lowered the queen's blade, which almost penetrated Ice Dragon Zaka's heart again, and her eyes fell into a bewilderment. The blood moon in the sky seems to have been influenced by some kind of wonderful power. A beam of light is put on this battlefield, covering the queen of Assyria and the prince who suddenly appears in front of her. "I'm willing to be your princess with you." The queen of Assyria gave her answer, but her eyes were more or less confused. "Why am I the princess?" "Thank you. It's my pleasure to be loved by you, your majesty." The prince bravely hugged the confused queen and let her indulge in sweet talk. The first princess is the princess of Assyria. Then the prince found the second girl. She's a child of her majesty, a doll princess with the sense of self. At this point, there was a distinct pause in the voice. "This is really too much. Even if it is a story, it is too much. Why is this reality? It must be the fault of the world. Princess, would you like to be the prince's unique treasure? Put on the most beautiful clothes and the most gorgeous jewelry for you. You are the most beautiful princess in the world. You are the little princess loved by the prince. You are the prince's princess." Ah, what a childish trick to lure a little girl. "Forgive me, White Moon." "Well, I love Dad. Marry Dad." White Moon raised her hand obediently and responded to the prince's proposal. The black-flamed demon bug under her feet shook his head discontentedly and withdrew from the battlefield. In this way, the prince married the second princess, Princess White Moon. Her Majesty and the princess are reconciled. The voice announced the result helplessly, but the story is not over. What's going on? There are burning marks all over the body of Desert Dragon Zaka, who has not yet found out the situation, but the fighting spirit is still burning in her eyes. She didn't lose. It's better to say that she, with the greatest support from the original dragon, now dares to fight against the ancient gods. The princess from the desert is angry because the prince did not wait for her to come back, but he is going to get married and go back to his hometown. She rushed to the wedding and asked in a loud voice, why didn't he wait for her? The prince tried to comfort the princess from the desert, so he had a fierce fight with her. The brilliance of star wings and the golden red sword light once again knocked down the star of the sand and the girl's heart. In the end, in the middle of the desert, they hugged and kissed each other. The princess from the desert said that if the prince is willing to build the most gorgeous and dazzling nest for her, she will recognize the prince's love and marry him. So the third bride came to the prince's side. She is the prince's third princess, Princess Zaka. At this stage, the story should have ended. However, after feeling the dangerous existence that was going to release the ice-typed forbidden spell, the narrator has to continue this bullshit story. Maybe this time, I will fail. The narrator of the story has such an awareness. Finally, the prince met the mysterious and dangerous ice princess. She has long hair, magical eyes, and she hates the prince very, very much, because the prince took away her most important sister and separated her from her sister. The prince was moved by the girl and bravely proposed to the girl who could not agree to his proposal. What happened? She agreed. This result shocked the narrator. I will never let you insult my sister's body. Marrying you is only for the sake of protecting my sister. I won't even let you touch my sister's finger as long as I'm here. Well, the end of the story is happy. Maybe that's good. Therefore, on this day, the prince married 4 brides with different personalities and wonderful relationships. This is also the story of the first year of the beginning of the new kingdom, 1,000 years after the destruction of the kingdom of Assyria. It's a story that happened a long, long time ago, no. It's a story that will happen long, long time later. The blood moon disappeared from the sky. People, as if nothing had happened, were cheering for the prince's wedding. They could not see that the blood moon had seized their senses just now, shouting, "Long live the queen!" and "The princess is the most lovely." Now, of course, they're still in a frenzy, because today is the prince's wedding day. There are 4 princesses who marry princes. The first princess, from the ancient kingdom of Assyria, was a proud and beautiful queen. She stood on the prince's right side with a smile. She wore a white wedding dress and held the biggest bouquet in her hand. She is worthy of being the most suitable princess. Noble and elegant, she and the prince are a perfect match. The second princess, also from the ancient kingdom of Assyria, is a lovely little princess. She was wearing a gorgeous princess dress and looked more like a baby princess doted on by the prince than the bride. She was innocent, holding Mumu's hand, standing in front of the prince, enjoying the prince's touch from time to time. Finally, there were the third and fourth princesses. The two princesses, with different colored horns on their foreheads, show their preternatural identity. One of them is the overlord of the desert, and the other is the king of the ice field. Desert Dragon Zaka, princess of the most powerful dragon kingdom on the mainland. Ice Dragon Zaka, sister of Desert Dragon Zaka, ruler of the emerging country of the north. They are both extremely powerful dragon girls. As the object of marriage, they make a marriage contract with the prince. The prince who married these four princesses is undoubtedly the happiest person in the world. At the same time, it is also the beginning of the kingdom's glory. To marry these four princesses means that the prince has the support of the whole world. People think of the moment when the prince was born, the prophecy made by the ancient augur to the newly born prince. Prince, your future is very great. You are the hope of the world, the next king. The day you were born, everyone was cheering for you. Even if there is an evil dragon, it can't hide your glory. The gods are watching you. You are the only one born by destiny. Let us be your power, our prince. Yes, the prophecy has come true now. The prince, through the power of love, even the terrible dragons are willing to be the prince's bride. He is the son of destiny in people's minds, and he is destined to be the strongest king. He is the greatest knight, the most perfect king, the hope of the world, the chosen one. Today is the day when the prince marries four princesses and brings peace to the world. The wedding is for the prince. The Starwings knights on the stage witnessed the history of this miracle. What happened? Why you covered her mouth and looked at the prince, who was in the middle of the four brides, with a helpless expression as if saying, "It's not my fault. It's the fault of the world." Why? Have they been sealed for 10,000 years in a time crack? When did the blood moon disappear? Are they still on the original world line? Why did they suddenly make up and began to accept the cheers of the people with the prince? What about the first princess, the second princess, the third princess, and the fourth princess? Isn't there only one mysterious queen in this kingdom who has been proved to be the terrible queen of Assyria? What happened? Ah, I forgot to tell them a story. Someone who is surrounded by four brides finds that he lies incompletely. After Linga's petal let him tell the story, there was no room for him to influence the Starwings knights who were not in the story. As his Starwings knights, they instinctively discovered the truth of the lie. Only this time, they did not stand up again to interrupt the wedding, but tolerated his caprice and this lie. Well done, Prince. On the tower of the palace, the mysterious augur was laughing. Yes, she didn't know how the prince did all this, how to let the blood moon come, and how he turned the bad end into a wedding. However, she doesn't need to care about the process, she just needs to get the result. This is also the ultimate realm of prophecy. She knows when and what will happen, just as the prince will kill his father and marry his mother and reach the peak of his life. This wedding is bound to be a success, because that is the general trend of history. What kind of play was that? The dark demon dog prince in the crowd felt that he had seen something very abnormal. It seems that the four brides all like the prince who is not handsome at all. I really don't understand the idea of human women. He looks so ordinary, as if he is a bakery owner from a remote town, but he can win so many girls' love. Sure enough, my furry golden princess is the best. Human beings are amorous creatures, but I'm different. I'm devoted to my dream lover. Really interesting. Similarly, the elf who is not in the prince's story smiles and looks at his companion who has entered the next stage of his life. It's a happy thing to meet people you like and marry them. Perhaps there will be a lot of setbacks in your future. You will encounter a lot of ups and downs. However, as long as you are with the people you like, you can cross the hurdle. In the name of Lavluo, I wish you and your princesses. Mumu gets married. Therefore, in the cheers of Mumu, the wedding ceremony started again in the eyes of the Starwings knights who began to doubt their lives. I would like to be with them. Whether I'm poor or rich, whether they are healthy or diseased, I'll take care of them, love them, and treat them as my family. Yun, she took the oath in front of the Duke in sweat and began to exchange rings with 4 brides. He was really worried about whether the next second these terrible brides would show their true faces. The Queen of Assyria will become the queen in a bloody wedding dress again. White Moon will call out the black flame demon bug that burned everything up again. Desert Dragon Zaka will make the star of the sand fall from the sky again. Ice Dragon Zaka will use the forbidden spell Iceland again. How long can Linga's story deceive the world? The day the prince married his 4 princesses. The people cheered to celebrate the day when the ancient kingdom entered a new page in history. Far away in the middle of the continent, surrounded by the forgotten ruins, a green light rises from the dragon's nest. Then, as if something terrible was brewing, the whole central mountains were shaking. A great earthquake is coming. First, there was a deafening noise, then a deep gasp when the earth trembled. Countless spider web cracks appeared on the ground and then became bigger and bigger. Finally, it completely tore apart the ancient ruins that had existed for thousands of years. It seems that there is a black demon raging here. It has walked down the streets, broke the bridge, crushed the tower, and pulled apart all the stone pillars one by one. Scattered palace ruins, half-water tower. The ruins gradually collapsed and came to an end. All of the forgotten ruins are beginning to be shrouded in fog. Lime, loess, coal dust, soot, and the dead matter of a city's destruction are mixed into a gray fog. The thick fog floated, rising one after another, like a curtain slowly suspended in the air, silently enveloping the ruins and the silent city of Assyria. However, this is not the end. There is a greater, more ferocious force that has not been released deep underground. They are waiting for the awakening of a great life, the most fierce and craziest creature bred by the original dragon's green light. Originally, it would have taken longer for her to be born, but now, under the anger of the original dragon, her birth date has been greatly advanced. The earthquake was a sign of her awakening. However, it's not enough. It's not enough to just push down the forgotten ruins where the original dragon was suppressed. The original dragon's anger is a more terrifying force. Boom, boom, boom. It was the roar of the earth. It was the roar of some kind of force, like the heartbeat of the world. Dong. In the endless hot magma, a huge eye opened. It was a vertical dragon eye, the eye of a murderous dragon. The shadow of the red dragon is taking shape in the depth of magma. She is the king of fire. Crimson Dragon is the most violent, the most domineering dragon. The 3rd Zaka is out of the shell. In response to her rage, the entire crust of the forgotten ruins began to melt, and tens of millions of tons of magma erupted from the depths of the earth. It was a more tyrannical and devastating natural disaster than Ice Dragon Zaka's Iceland spell. It was a big earthquake that could erase a country from the earth. What's more, it's the end of the final magma eruption, the end of the core collapse. About 30 meters long, the red giant dragon is flying above the mushroom cloud, sending out the roar of the dragon that shakes the world. The crimson dragon roar waves spread layer by layer. This is a unique skill that even Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka have not yet mastered. Everything covered by the dragon roar waves has been smashed and melted, and the central part of the continent has been completely turned into a sea of lava. This is Fire Dragon Zaka, the 3rd of the 4 sisters, the king of fire. She is more destructive than Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka combined. She is undoubtedly the strongest of the 4 Zaka sisters, except for the last Black Dragon Zaka. She was born to bring disaster to the world, just as the red dragon is the typical embodiment of the evil dragon. Her ferocity is more than 10 times that of her sister, Desert Dragon Zaka. I will avenge my sisters. Flying above the sea of lava, the 3rd Zaka looks at the east where the 2 Zakas were buried with hate-filled crimson eyes, and is ready to set out to turn the last kingdom of mankind into a sea of fire. She must avenge her sisters. Just as the red fire dragon was about to rush into the sky, the green light suddenly flashed, interrupting Zaka, who was already ready to sprint, and gave her a 90-degree deflection coordinate. Not going to the east for the time being? Why? My sisters died there. The roar of Fire Dragon Zaka rang through the sky, unable to understand the green light's purpose. The green light flashed over and over again and continued to point to the south of the continent. No, I'm going to avenge my sisters. I'm going to burn. Even the guidance of the Great Mother could not change Fire Dragon Zaka's outrage. The green light eventually had to send a message telling Fire Dragon Zaka why she had to go south first. Because there is a pair of twin sisters who will threaten the original dragon. I see. Just eat them. Finally, unable to defy the will of the green light, Fire Dragon Zaka roared, spread its wings, and flew to the southern forest region, one of the two remaining human settlements. There is the target she wants to annihilate, the only twin witches in the world who can threaten the great original dragon. After eating the twin witches, she will immediately go to the east and wipe out the last kingdom of mankind from the mainland. Fire Dragon Zaka, do what she says. Sister, in the palace, Ice Dragon Zaka is holding a bowl of frozen lotus seed porridge and feeding her sister Desert Dragon Zaka with a happy expression. Well, it's great to get married. Dressed in revealing clothes, Desert Dragon Zaka, lolling on his bed, looks comfortable. The first thing she did after her marriage was to use her right as a princess to let the cooks in the palace cook a lot of delicious food for her. This is so happy. How can human food be so delicious? I'm okay if my sister is happy. Ice Dragon Zaka also enjoyed it. Oh, such a confused and greedy sister. She is really lovely. It always seems that we have forgotten something. Is it a delusion? Desert Dragon Zaka blinked. It seemed that she had forgotten something important. Forget the prince. I'm very happy to be with you, my sister. Ice Dragon Zaka got close to Desert Dragon Zaka's plump chest. From the first time she touched the soft chest, she was captivated. The fragrance of my sister is so delicious. Sister's silly appearance also made me want to tease her. She didn't want to leave her sister for a moment. That's why she can't help but agree to the proposal of the prince who doesn't look handsome at all. That guy really knows how to use dirty means. Obviously, as long as her sister is with him, she can't leave at all. In the royal city, on the highest astrological tower. Congratulations, prince. No, it's the king now. Robin, dressed in a black robe, looks at Yuan-Shi with a smile on her face. Did you foresee the day before you told me that future? Yuan-Shi is very suspicious that she has been watching his own jokes. The lies woven from Linga Petal have successfully deceived the 4 brides and the people of the whole kingdom. However, this is only 1/8 of the real White Lotus secret treasure after all, and it cannot make a complete change in the world line. The affected areas are only limited within the kingdom, and there is no spare power to change the cognition of other hero-ranked strong people. In other words, it's not a perfect lie, but it works. Although the 4 princesses believed it, the Starwings Knights were not woven into the story. They saw the truth. In particular, the augur in front of him had already known that this would happen, and she had been waiting on the tower for a long time. The future is infinite. Who knows what kind of future will appear? I'm just more confident in you, my prince. If it is you, no matter what kind of adversity, you can break through. Even if you can't win, at least you can run away. Sometimes, it's shameful to run away, but it's very useful. Robin smiles at Yuan-Shi, who should have reached the peak of his life. Tell me all the prophecies. I think you'll kill me sooner or later. After completing the achievements of killing his father and marrying his mother, and lying loudly to the world, Yuan-Shi felt that he had become farther and farther away from being a gentleman. In this world, how can there be a gentleman who married 4 princesses after killing his father and marrying his mother? Yes, the prophecy goes on. Robin nodded, and the next prophecy was still full of crisis. Rather, the prophecies she gave were all of this type. Only tragedy can make people leave the deepest impression. Similarly, only ominous predictions can make people pay more attention to their own lives. Several bright red birds fly to Robin's shoulders and begin to laugh at Yuan-Shi, who has just cheated the world and cursed him. This is Robin's way of prophecy, Blood Robin's unfortunate prophecy. The king married 4 princesses. The first princess, who loves to wear blood-stained wedding dresses, sneaks out every night and pokes with a broken sword. What is she poking at? The second princess likes cute dolls. She sleeps with them every day. One day, The doll disappears, but the doll comes back. Her big eyes are lovely, and her small hands and feet are lovely. The third princess is so stupid that she can only eat. What she eats today is hands. Yesterday she was feet. Tomorrow she wants to eat a heart. She can't stop eating. The fourth princess is very jealous. The person she likes someone else. The person she likes is a big cunning liar. Her scissors have been ground. Do you want to know the correct usage of scissors and dogs? Listen to the prophecy. Yunshi's forehead was full of sweat. Ah, his princesses are really abnormal, and he married these 4 princesses at the same time. He is looking for his own death. This trial is really terrible. The king is dead. Why is he dead again? The king wants to escape, but he can't escape anywhere. Human beings are such sad creatures. Stupid king, we will not tell you that there is a greater disaster in the south, and you will surely die. You need to go all the way west, all the way west, all the way west, to challenge the most terrible things. The ancient ruins have collapsed, and the dragon of doom is about to wake up. In this world, no one lives forever. Blood birds sing together, as if they have seen through the end of the world. It's really, no matter how I look at it, I won't have a happy end. Yunshi clearly knows the world's malice towards him. The world is really unfriendly to the human race. It is better to say that if he does not come, all humans will be killed by the dragons. Even so, you want to change something, don't you? Robin looked at the prince, showing a gentle expression. Yes, I want to do something even if the world is doomed to be destroyed. Yunshi knows that this time, the situation is really out of his control. Before entering this trial world, he didn't expect that the world was so difficult. Just 2 Zakas show the ability to destroy the world, and the real evil dragon hasn't come out yet. The original dragon, he heard from the 2 Zakas. How powerful is this final boss? It's really obvious. The end of the world, the terminator of the world. It is the original and also the destruction. Before its appearance, it has caused great pressure on Yunshi. Witches of the south? They may be the hope of saving the world. Yunshi, who got a hint from Robin's unfortunate prophecy, made a decision. This is the 3rd side quest. It's time to accomplish it. Well, take this and go to the witches. Robin took out a contract and handed it to Yunshi. What is this? Yunshi takes over the important prop given by Robin in a daze. It seems that this contract has been for some years, not a modern thing. In the name of myself, I hope to make an eternal covenant with the last descendants of the great Assyria, the holy witches. As the successors of the kingdom of Assyria, both sides will keep the secrets of Her Majesty, the great queen, and jointly guard the last glory of Assyria. When the disaster comes, may we join hands and stand on the same front. Yunshi understood that this was the agreement between the first king and the southern witches, the proof of the great night. Look at the back, that is the point. Robin looks at Yunshi and gives him an important hint. Hereby noted, the holder of this contract can marry the witches. What is this? Yunshi looks at Robin, who seems to know everything. It is, of course, the legal contract of marriage to the holy witches. Robin gave a serious answer. Why? Why is this a marriage contract? Shouldn't the content be something like watch the enemy and help each other? Yunshi looked at Robin, almost exasperated. He did not know anything about the people in the southern forest. It's a human branch that, like his kingdom, splits from the ancient kingdom of Assyria. However, the ancestor of his kingdom, the original knight, chose the way of knighthood and continued to guard the ruins of ancient Assyria, while the one who was originally the priest fled to the remote southern forest and chose the road of seclusion. They did not exist in the form of a kingdom, but became a separate tribe and developed the unique witch system. The witches are the incarnation of God and the representatives of the sacred and inviolable God. Witches are not allowed to marry. They guard an ancient covenant and are chosen from the best girls of the tribe. They firmly believe that the witch will become the savior of the world, the noblest existence in the world, and the successor of the truly great Assyria. Now, the covenant tells Yunshi that the witches had made an agreement with the first king long ago, and noted on the back that the covenant had special conditions. Well, it is because marriage is always the most direct and effective means of covenant. Prince, you are already a king. You should understand. Robin looks like she is going to laugh, and seems to be full of sympathy for what She is going to do next. I know. I know. She gnawed his teeth and gazed at the marriage contract, which was written many generations ago. But I've never heard of a king marrying a witch, which never happened. There is only one queen of the king. That is the eternal beautiful queen, the great queen of Assyria. As knights, kings have never married other princesses, and there is always only one master in the king's palace. Until his generation, he not only married the queen of Assyria, but also married the daughter of the queen of Assyria, White Moon, not to mention Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka. He has achieved the epic mission of marrying 4 princesses. Of course, it's because the kings loved the queen so much that they didn't plan to marry the witch. Robin was happy to tell her king that answer. So this covenant has never been used. In fact, according to the records, there were still a few witches who had expressed their affection for the kings. It's just that all the kings were so devoted that they couldn't fulfill this additional condition. Over time, the witches gave up. But you, Prince, you don't have this problem. When it comes to this, Robin smiles even more brilliant. Now you have married 4 princesses, it won't hurt to have more. Huayu, Xiao Xiao, Lulu, and Xiaomi are all waiting for you. You will be responsible for the Starwings Knights, right? Robin's words hit Shi hard. Robin's critical strike adds fire penetration, frost penetration, and lightning penetration, ignoring Shi's defensive resistance. Robin did 10,000 damage to Shi. Shi conceded. It was a special situation. Shi is sweating. Well, the situation was special, so we forgive you. But we don't pretend to see nothing. Since you have married 4 princesses, it doesn't matter if we enlarge the palace. Robin's face turned a little red. I'm also a member of the Starwings Knights. Robin's language caused extra damage to Shi. This damage is not included in fire penetration, frost penetration, and lightning penetration. It cannot be neutralized by armor or shield. It's chaos damage that ignores defense. Shi surrendered. The world. It's terrible. Shi lamented. At this time, if only there were more Lingus petals. If the time can go back to when he just entered the world, he would make a wish with the Linga petal. My parents died when I was a child. No one loves me. No one knows me, and no one will notice me. Unfortunately, there has never been such an option. Prince, you have changed your destiny and made more people happy. This time, please try your best. If there are more princesses, world peace will be around the corner. Robin leads Shi a good way away. If I had more wives, I would have died more miserably. Compared with Robin's optimism, Shi always feels his future is dark. It is said that the twin witches are gentle and virtuous. They are first-class brides. Robin takes out the professionalism of a matchmaker and introduces Shi to his engagement partner. Gentle? Shi remembers the beautiful figure holding the Red Lotus demon sword and burning everything. Virtuous. Die. 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 Red Lotus waved her Red Lotus demon sword while seeing Shi, just like a red demon. Let alone White Lotus. Does Red Lotus have anything to do with gentle and virtuous? Well, that's what intelligence says. There should be no mistake. Robin looks at Shi strangely. Is he dissatisfied with this marriage contract? The twin witches are heroes with no less reputation than the prince, and they are beauties well known in the whole human world. Marry this pair of witches. Prince, what are you dissatisfied with? The covenant is sacred. Although all the kings have devoted themselves to marrying the Millennium Queen of Assyria, no one has fulfilled the conditions attached to this covenant, but the covenant is a covenant. As long as the prince takes this covenant to propose to the twin witches, the success rate should be 100%. Can I not go? Shi looks at Robin with an almost desperate look, as pitiful as a pet going to an animal hospital. Prince, you have no choice. Robin shook her head. Her prophecy has never been wrong. The prince is charged with the mission of saving the world. Since he had married 4 princesses, he was the only one who could carry out the covenant. Perhaps, when the first king and the witches concluded this contract, He did not think that such a rebellious prince would appear in his descendants. If you want to defeat the dragon, you must marry the twin witches and get their power. In the end, Yunshi accepted his fate. Why? I'm just here to beat down the dragon, just to have a cruel and bloody trial of death. Clearly I want to carry out such a great trial, but why did it come to this point? In the forest, Yunshi is advancing through all kinds of difficulties. Today is the third day of his journey alone. In the name of cultivation and seclusion, he temporarily got rid of his 4 princesses and left his kingdom alone to carry out one of the most important trials of the Dragon's War. Goal: to marry the twin witches and gain their power. This is also one of the branch tasks he has to complete. According to Robin, without the power of the twin witches, he will not be able to defeat the terrible original dragon. Indeed, the power of Red Lotus and White Lotus is absolutely strong, which is recognized by his childhood sweetheart, Hua Hua. His childhood sweetheart didn't even praise the first master of the White Lotus Sword domain, the White Lotus Sword Master, who was at the 6th rank. However, she only praises the twin witches. This is the first time Yunshi sees Hua Hua recognizing her peers. Yunshi still doesn't know how strong Hua Hua really is. Her strength is that the stronger you become, the more you can find the gap with her. The only twin witches recognized by Hua Hua also has the God's talent, and it is a special God's talent that Yunshi still does not know. Even his teacher, Cassina the Battle God, has said that this generation of twin witches in the White Lotus Sword domain is unfathomable and has unlimited potential. Yunshi also believes that if he can get the help of the twin witches, it will be absolutely useful to defeat the terrible dragon. Just, why should we take marriage as the premise? And, before he came to the world, the marriage contract was written? Why has the first king who has been devoted to Her Majesty, the Queen of Assyria, make such a strange agreement with the witches? Yunshi sniffed out the smell of conspiracy and felt the malice of the world line. Well, there must be a choice not to get married. The future can be changed. Yunshi cheers himself on. Didn't he change the future of the kingdom by marrying 4 princesses? Shwa. Yunshi walked out of the dense forest and saw a magnificent river in front of him. Seeing the river, Yunshi couldn't help but think of the memory of sinking into the river with desert dragon Zaka, intertwined with each other, and finally Zaka drowned and fainted. It was just a few days ago, but it gave him a strange feeling of nostalgia. Today's desert dragon Zaka is probably still eating and drinking in the palace. Although she is a bit impatient and has a little deviation in her world outlook, she is the best to get along with and feed amongst the 4 princesses. Take a little rest. Yunshi takes out his kitchen utensils and points to the river at will. A transparent air current pierces the turbulent river, bounces several fish up and falls into Yunshi's hands. Fish, fish, come to my pot. Yunshi cleanly handled the fish and began to take care of his lunch. Originally, as a king, he should take a large team to marry the twin witches. However, if he did, he would have killed himself. The 4 princesses will never let him in the new honeymoon period to marry unknown twin witches. If he dares to say that, Yunshi can imagine what will happen to him. Darling, do you want to eat apples? The Queen of Assyria will prepare delicious apples, which will make him unconscious. Dad, it's not right to be unfaithful. White Moon will call the black flame demon bug and make a big scene. Shaheen, where is my dragon's nest? Yes, sister, I'll kill him for you. Zaka's sisters will go mad in an instant. Originally, it's wrong to marry other princesses when they get married. I am innocent. Yunshi wanted to tell his 4 princesses in tears that he was forced by the terrible dragon. Yes, it's the dragon's fault. Well, the sky looks strange. As soon as he was ready for his lunch, Yunshi found that there was a very strange scene in the sky. The blue sky was covered by countless fire clouds. These fire clouds continue to spread out. Almost half of the sky is dyed dark red, and the edge of the fire clouds showing a lava-like dark red. Yunshi has never seen such a burning sky in his life. The creatures on the ground and the fish in the water seem to sense something and start a crazy escape. Rabbits, fawn, cheetah, black bear. All of these animals ran away. The fish in the water gathered together into a huge school of fish, scurrying in the direction of downstream. Some of them even jumped to the shore regardless of the direction, like suicide. Boom, boom, boom. In the burning clouds in the sky, there were sounds of thunder, but there was no lightning at all, as if some terrible natural disaster was breaking out. More and more massive fire clouds appear in the sky, and some of them even start to burn directly. The sky is lit. What a terrible smell. Yunshi finally realized that the force of this natural disaster was not natural, but more like some terrible creature fighting there. What kind of creature can make the sky burn over thousands of miles? And what is this terrible creature fighting with? In a second, all the clouds in the sky suddenly burst into flames. Along with these cascading waves is the roar of a terror creature, which makes the whole sky tremble. Looking down, Yunshi saw the stars falling. It's daytime, but countless stars tear the edge of the sky from the distant sky, smashing the countless crimson ripples in an extremely gorgeous and shocking way. The magnificent and shining scene makes Yunshi feel the great will from the stars. In the starlight, something seems to have been knocked down. Like meteors penetrating the atmosphere, there are huge objects similar to crimson meteorites falling in the distant sky, making a loud sound that Yunshi, who is hundreds of kilometers away, feels that his eardrum is about to break. Where the meteorite fell, there appeared a red mushroom cloud, which seemed to be accompanied by a kind of unwilling roar. In the midst of the blaze, the red light that was spreading from the sky began to dissipate. After about a minute, it completely disappeared. The fire clouds from all directions also all restored the original color. It was just that lava-like crimson color that lasted quite a long time. Both sides of the battle have the power of burning mountains and boiling the sea, and the danger level is no less than that of the bloody wedding not long ago. This continent is indeed a dangerous place. It is far from as simple as it seems. The time when the knights were the highest force on the mainland was long gone. In any case, this is a battle that has been decided. It seems that the person who summoned countless fire clouds and almost ignited the sky was finally defeated by the one who dominated the stars. Yunshi also wants to know who the person is that calls the glory of the stars. However, Yunshi always thinks that maybe things are not so simple. With a trace of curiosity, Yunshi began to move towards the area where the meteor might have fallen. The closer Yunshi gets to the place where the huge object fell, the more he can feel the horror of the battle before. 100 kilometers away from the falling area, the vegetation is still barely in its original shape, and when it is about 80 kilometers away, obvious dehydration symptoms begin to appear. Within 50 kilometers, most of the vegetation leaves are withered, as if they have not been moistened for months in the drought, but this is on the riverbank of the largest river in the mainland. By the time he enters the inner ring area about 20 kilometers from the falling area, it is already a complete natural disaster scene. Almost all the plants are dead. Something more terrifying than the hot wind in the desert completely destroys the vitality of these trees. The temperature in the air exceeds 50 degrees, which is an environment that human beings cannot live in. In addition to a very small number of brambles surviving, both plants and animals have been extinct. Moving forward, the environment can only be called hell. The mountain range of flame. Yunshi can only use this word to describe this terrible scenery. River was burned beyond recognition. The forest no longer exists. There is a ring of flaming mountains with numerous lava flows, as if guarding something, and scrupulously erupted deadly poison gas and flame. The end of the day is probably to describe such a scene. Human beings cannot survive in this environment. Only a small number of fire property demons hover in this newly formed volcanic region and make cheers. But this is not the end. The closer to the falling center of the unidentified object, the faster the temperature rises. When Yunshi stops and can finally observe the falling object, he has to pull out the star wings and protect himself with the power of the star wings. It is a legendary creature that radiates the brilliance of red gemstone. It is a king at the top of the world. It fell into a lava lake about 3 kilometers in size, and its whole body was torn by some terrible force. The heart part has a huge black hole. The edge of the black hole presents a strange star color, not like being hit by a certain weapon, more like this part suddenly disappeared. For human beings, with this kind of injury, they would have been dead for a long time. But the giant was still breathing, even though its heart was taken by unknown forces. Every breath would cause a sudden rise in the surrounding temperature. The absolutely empty part where the heart was constantly absorbing the surrounding lava essence, trying to repair the fatal injury. If it is a general injury, Yunshi believes that it has long been improved. Dragon? Yunshi wiped his eyes again. Red Dragon, a famous branch of the dragon clan, is famous for its impulsive and violent character and its flaming dragon breath. The one in front of Yunshi has the power to control the source of fire, which can be called a king-level crimson dragon. But now it is dying. Even if energy sources continuously extract the molten lava around to repair its own injuries, some mysterious force that penetrates its whole body is still taking away its life. Human, aware of its death, the crimson dragon reluctantly opened its eyes, revealing a tired breath. Do you want to kill me and accomplish the great cause of dragon slaughtering? Are you dying? Yunshi sighed. Although the main task of the world is to fight against the dragon, it should not be the one in front of him. Yes, I am dying. The red dragon looked at its torn wings and its body penetrated by countless arrows of light. The outline of that god weapon came to his mind. The Ring of Stars and Moon. This is the name of that god weapon, the root of her defeat. What broke her wings was a red lotus demon sword. Through her body was the shining ring of stars and moon. What erased her heart was the motto or karma launched by the witch in white, ignoring all her defensive resistance. She perhaps can defeat any one of the twin witches, but they will not be separated. When they fight together, even a dragon will be afraid of the power they play with. They, who have opened a door to a higher realm, can even create the miracle of stars falling. This war was a complete and tragic defeat of the Crimson Dragon, even at the cost of its own life. The torn dragon wings can grow back little by little. The penetrated body can also absorb lava essence to repair. However, the lost heart can never recover because it has been completely captured by the witch in white and has become the booty of the twin witches. Well, little human, if you want to do it, do it. The dragon closed her eyes and waited for her death. To be able to walk on the ground in this lava lake and have a magic sword. It may not be the worst outcome for her to be killed by such a strong human. Even if the human is an ant in the eyes of the dragon, it is an ant strong enough to threaten the dragon, the king of ants. As for the twin witches, she was sure they were not human beings. She had an honest and upright fight against them, the most formidable enemies. She can't imagine that human beings can be as powerful as the twins. Their eyes gave her a sense that they were not human beings, but connected to some kind of great will. That kind of feeling is like, no matter how strong she is, losing in their hands is the absolute destiny which cannot be defied. Are you an evil dragon? Yunshi slowly came to the Crimson Dragon, which was the third and strongest dragon he had ever seen in the world. Yes, I am the most ferocious Crimson Dragon. I should have been the great volcano overlord. Even though her death was approaching, the Crimson Dragon still raised her proud head. Dragons never bow their heads. In the early days, there was only one voice, which was always in high spirits and complacent. Hey, Sister Ice Dragon, Sister Red Dragon, and Sister Black Dragon. I am your elder sister, Desert Dragon Zaka. For you, I will respond to the will of the Great Mother and conquer the world. The barbarians in the north have all surrendered. They have changed their belief in total. From today on, the dragon is their faith. The desert tribes in the west have also surrendered. They are willing to offer sacrifices to our great dragons. Now, there are still the southern tribal areas with witches and the last night kingdom of human beings. Wait, I will defeat the last human resistance because I am invincible. Next, one voice becomes two. Sister, you are in love. How can this be possible? The other party must be a liar, a big liar. Even the quarrel between sisters is so yearning. When listening to the voices of her sisters, she is more eager than ever to break the shell early and fight side by side with her sisters. However, when she ushered in the day of breaking the shell, what she heard was the sad news that her sisters had died. They can no longer respond to the voice of the original dragon, which means that the fire of their lives has withered. Anger, endless anger covered the heart of the Crimson Dragon. She wants to revenge her sisters. She will continue their unfinished mission, conquering this world. But it was all over. The terrible twin witches, the terrible rings of stars and moon, the thing they are connected to when they fight hand in hand. Consciousness gradually began to sink into the darkness, and finally, the warm lava essence gradually cooled down. Her death is coming. This power, it is, a sound seems to be heard in the ear, and the missing part of the heart appears a little warm. Wait, are you? In the whirling of the consciousness, the Crimson Dragon was completely dizzy, but the outline of the world seemed to be enlarged all of a sudden. She looks stunned at the dragon girl who has become a human posture in front of him. That is a familiar posture, because he has two of the four princesses who have the same face. Zaka? The third, looking at his sister-in-law in theory, she always felt that the world line of the Dragon War had already deviated by 100,000 kilometers away. Why did the red dragon Zaka suddenly appear in front of him and was dying? That is like a flower just sprouting, although young, but trying to spread their own branches and leaves. A flower that can create a miracle of life replaces the lost heart of red dragon Zaka and builds a new flower with a new core of life for her. At the same time, it is also the proof of the contract. She did not expect that after calling Linga the holy tree, the green spot left by the unknown existence named Ulfji still remained in his body and played an important role in this critical moment. The only embarrassment was that his palms seemed unable to move from the chest of red dragon Zaka because of these green dots. The soft and smooth skin seemed to stick with his palm. He could even feel the sound of the heartbeat clearly from the palm. Dong, dong, dong. Because she regained her heart, the seemingly incurable body of red dragon Zaka began to repair itself bit by bit. About a quarter of an hour later, red dragon Zaka coughed, vomited a lot of blood stasis, and opened her weak but no longer dying eyes. The eyes of the red dragon looked like the color of volcanic eruption, hot and bright, like the combination of the most beautiful ruby and sunset. What are you doing? As soon as she woke up, red dragon Zaka found that her strong scales had disappeared, her proud, huge body had disappeared, and even her dragon horn had retracted into her body. All over her body, not even a dress. What a shame. What made her angrier is that this human is still kneading her chest. No, don't misunderstand it. I'm trying to save you. She only wants to cry. Die. Red Dragon Zaka put her hands around Yunshi's neck, and her feet locked his body. She was ready to break his neck. But before she broke Yunshi's neck with both hands, her whole body was suddenly weak. The hands that wanted to break Yunshi's head slid down, and her strong and slender feet did not escape the disaster. The originally fatal move of killing instantly turned into the coquetry between lovers. The culprit for all this is naturally the flower that revived Red Dragon Zaka, the last gift Ulfji left to Yunshi. Red Dragon Zaka, who lost her heart in the battle with the twin witches, would have died. It was because of the mimicry heart formed by this flower that she could survive. The gift was given by Ulfji to Yunshi. How could it do anything to hurt Yunshi? Red Dragon Zaka's counterattack is doomed to be invalid. What have you done to my body? Finds that she has almost lost all her strength. For the first time in her life, Red Dragon Zaka shows her panic like an unarmed mortal girl. Even when she was facing the witch dressed in white, when she fell from the sky, she never had such an expression. Death in the war is not an unacceptable outcome for Red Dragon Zaka. A fall in the battle with super-strong enemies like the Twin Witches is totally acceptable to the Red Dragon. On the contrary, she didn't die and her body fell into an unknown person's hand, and she couldn't do anything. That's the most terrible thing. I didn't do anything. Yunshi really doesn't know how to explain it. He's not a priest. He can't do divine spells such as resurrection, healing, or limb regeneration. His hand is not a silver hand to cure all wounds. What brings Red Dragon Zaka back from the death line is the mysterious existence in the Star Wings, which lies on the other side of the River of the Stars. Through the forbidden door opened by Star Wings, She sent green dots to help Yun-Shi connect with the real White Lotus secret treasure and save the dying Red Dragon Zaka. The power level of these green dots is completely beyond Yun-Shi's imagination limit. So, what is this? Red Dragon Zaka reluctantly raises her hand and points to the part of their bodies that are closely connected. You said that you didn't do anything. What is this? What is this? Ah, she is going to cry. Yun-Shi looked at his sister-in-law, full of grief and anger, and felt helpless. What is this? He doesn't know. Bang, bang, bang. As if feeling some kind of atmosphere between Yun-Shi and Red Dragon Zaka, the heart formed by the green flower began to beat stronger and stronger. Red Dragon Zaka has also found that as long as she doesn't have hostility to the human in front of her, it seems that her recovery speed will become faster, and her heart will beat more powerful. The only problem is, in this way, her feelings for this human will become deeper, especially the touch of that evil claw holding down her mountain peak. Damn it! With the beat of her heart, even if Yun-Shi doesn't move a finger, his hand still moves with the rhythm of the heartbeat. Each jump represents the breath of life, which is the most beautiful sound in the world and the most exciting arc. Finally, at a certain point, Red Dragon Zaka's eyes regained their original self-confidence. The wounds are all healed. She is recovered. Now she can be in combat again. Transformation. Red Dragon Zaka, whose vitality is fully restored, is ready to transform back to her dragon posture and eat the human who dares to attack her. However, the familiar feeling of the world getting smaller didn't appear. The instinct to change back to the real dragon posture has failed. Why? Red Dragon Zaka's eyes are burning with flames that can burn through the sky. Her combat effectiveness has been restored to the best state. With the power of the source of fire, she absorbed all the lava essence around her. She should have recovered. How dare this human to rub her chest? Die, die, die. Why don't you die? Air. Is the heart okay? Looking at Red Dragon Zaka, who seems to have recovered to a lively state, Yun-Shi can't help but sigh at the dragon's vitality. The kind of injury actually recovered in less than an hour. If her heart had not disappeared, she would have recovered without his help. No wonder a dragon is a legendary creature at the top of the food chain of the endless gods' domains. Heart. At this time, Red Dragon Zaka finally realized that her current situation was abnormal. She clearly remembers that her heart was wiped from her body by the witch in white with extremely terrible means, and finally, she suffered a tragic defeat. Even though she is a dragon, she can't survive without a heart. It is almost impossible to damage the heart of the dragon. Unable to change back to the giant red dragon pose, Zaka can feel the high agitation of her chest and the damned evil claws. Her heart is lost, so what is beating in her chest now? What is this object that makes a powerful sound, that is constantly fluctuating and shrinking in her chest? Red Dragon Zaka knew instinctively that without this object, she would have died. Bang, bang, bang. Yun-Shi's palm almost recorded every detail of Red Dragon Zaka's towering chest. After that, the parts close to each other finally separated. However, a transparent green silk thread remained on Yun-Shi's fingertips and Red Dragon Zaka's bud tips, which took a while to disappear. Boom! The Red Dragon Zaka's flaming flames soared into the sky, and then quickly woven into a gorgeous dress. It was a princess skirt with bright colors and multiple red and black lace. It was no problem to say that it was the queen's dress. Like a dragon horn, the crystal crown on Red Dragon Zaka's head is indescribably noble. The front part of the chest, the bow woven out of the red ribbon, is just right to cover the chest, giving people a faint sense of temptation. Under the high skirt is a pair of nearly perfect jade-like legs. The small jade feet are stepping on a pair of high-heeled shoes with red glass heels, which makes Red Dragon Zaka's height increase a few points. Although even then, her height is only to reach the neck position of Yun-Shi. What have you done to my heart? Finally, Red Dragon Zaka, who finally weaves his magic costume, presses her chest nervously, feeling the familiar and strange beating sound, and her mind is blank. I think it is a flower there. Yun-Shi doesn't know what's going on. He still had the strength of Wolf Ji in his body, and helped the dying red dragon Zaka build a flower that could replace the heart, which was far beyond his expectation. Flower. Red dragon Zaka closed her eyes and felt the leaping sound inside her body with all her strength. She soon saw the flower, full of the color of life, an incredible flower. The green petal connects her blood vessels and nerves, and each contraction is completely synchronized with the rhythm of her body. Only a glance to know that it is this flower instead of her own heart to save her from the brink of death. What a wonderful flower. It's not any magic or divine spell that Red Dragon Zaka knows. This is the same level of power as the Great Mother, and only such power can pull her back from the abyss of death. It was a gift from a friend of mine, and now it's your heart. Yunshi describes the truth closest to the truth in the simplest language possible. Red Dragon Zaka looks at Yunshi and doesn't know whether to continue to kill him, or to follow the principle of the dragon and repay the benefactor who saved her life. She is not a wild dragon with no breeding, but a Zaka, bred by the original dragon, the present Red Dragon Princess, the future Red Dragon Queen, and one of the 4 masters of the world. After careful thinking and reasoning, Red Dragon Zaka raised her proud head. Little human, I will fulfill a wish of yours, with a time limit of 10 years. No matter what kind of wish, you can make a wish to me. If you want gold and silver, or become a king and marry all the princesses, it's no problem. In front of you is the great dragon who is going to dominate the world. In 10 years, you can have everything in the world. After 10 years, I'll eat you. Well, according to the logic of the dragon, 10 years is just a time to sleep. It's perfect to satisfy each other's wish to let him enjoy the luxury life of doing whatever he wants and then eat him. This is a red dragon. This is Zaka. Are you sure? Yunshi looks at the confident red dragon Zaka, his 3rd and 4th princess's sister. It's been detected a long time ago. It's only now that he can be sure. The 4 heavenly kings under the evil dragon, namely the 4 sisters of Zaka, are capricious in many subtle places. But even so, they have a unique charm that they never lie. This is true of Desert Dragon Zaka, Ice Dragon Zaka, and Red Dragon Zaka. It's a group of straightforward and somewhat even lovely dragons. Yes, as long as it is a wish that I can fulfill, it will be realized. Red Dragon Jia shook her own dragon horn crystal crown with a proud look. Even if I want to marry you. Yunshi didn't know why he suddenly said this sentence. Maybe he was also influenced by the Zaka sisters, and his IQ dropped seriously. Ga. Red Dragon Zaka looks as if she is petrified in a flash. Zaka's logical reasoning system starts calculus. The wish that she can realize, whether it includes marrying a human being. Including, it's not something she can't do, and if it's only 10 years, it'll be over soon. Do I have to fulfill my promise? It must be fulfilled. Red Dragon Zaka is the great Red Dragon Princess and the future Red Dragon Queen. She will do what she says. Can I accept marrying a human being? Absolutely not. Why would the great Red Dragon Zaka marry an ant-like human being? Human beings have killed her 2 sisters. They are her enemies. So, do I have to realize his wish? Yes, but absolutely not. Ding. There are logic contradictions and data cyclic redundancy errors. Red Dragon Zaka's head crashed. Eat you. Eat you. Eat you. Marry you. Marry you. Marry you. Obviously, Red Dragon Zaka inherits the tradition of the great 4 sisters of Zaka and is very easy to get into a state of chaos when dealing with things that are too complicated. After a while, Red Dragon Zaka's eyes were already full of confusion, holding her head in her hands and looking at Yunshi with an extremely fierce and hesitant look. It looks like a beast ready to kill its prey and a girl looking at her lover. This is the first time that Yunshi sees someone who can mix these 2 kinds of expressions on their face. She is really a fierce and lovely girl. In order to avoid burning his sister-in-law's mind out because of excessive thinking, Yunshi felt that the joke should be over. It's enough for him to marry Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka. He doesn't want to gather together the 4 dragons. Even if he had collected the 4 Zaka sisters together, it would only be at the rage of the most terrible dragons waiting for him. It's just a joke. Don't mind. I don't want you to return anything. You are free. Yunshi tries to smile gently, ready to coax Red Dragon Zaka, who is a little bit grumpy. Compared with her sisters, her temperament seems to be particularly impatient. Should he say that no wonder she is the red dragon incarnated by fire? Joke? Red Dragon Zaka doesn't think so. It is impossible for ordinary human beings to dare to refuse a dragon's wishes. That is to say, the proposal just now is real? How dare this human being propose to a dragon? Sure enough, I should eat him. Red Dragon Zaka licked her lips. From the beginning, she felt that the human being in front of her was very delicious food. What kind of taste is it? Red Dragon Zaka can't describe it in words. In her memory, she has never smelt such a sweet and delicious smell. Just smelling him makes her intoxicated. If she licks and tastes him, she will be more reluctant to stop. Goo! Red Dragon Zaka's stomach suddenly became hungry. I want to eat him. The world's most delicious food may be in front of me. Red Dragon Zaka can't help it. Hungry? She snapped his finger, and the hero-ranked baker's ability was launched. A golden bread with soft golden light, wheat flavor, and rich cream flavor appears in Yunshi's hand, which is one of the 100 limited loaves of bread in his bread storeroom. This ability is an additional ability of his own hero rank, so it can be used even in the trial world, while the light refining furnace, the water god's 3 god weapons, and Hydra's wine cannot appear in this trial world. Of course, if he can integrate the light refining furnace and Hydra's wine into his soul like star wings, they can also be used like the bread storeroom, which he can't do at present. Bread. Is it edible? Red Dragon Zaka looks at the bread in Yunshi's hands with disgust. She is not a herbivorous dragon. Feeding bread to her is like an insult. Compared with bread, it's better to eat human beings. It's strange to say that she doesn't eat intelligent creatures. However, she is always full of appetite when she sees this little human in front of her. Try it. Yunshi guides the hungry Red Dragon Zaka by coaxing. Just take a bite. It doesn't matter. Well, I will just take a bit. This bread doesn't look good. Hungry Red Dragon Zaka tore a small piece of the golden bread and put it in her mouth. The next second, her cheeks instantly suffused with excitement, and even the snow-white skin in the red bow gap was dyed with lovely scarlet. What's that taste? Too strange. Why just eat such a small piece of bread? I will feel warm all over the body. No, it's not warm. It's hot. Bang, bang, bang. The heart beat fiercely, cheering, demanding more of these ingredients. By the way, this kind of smell is the kind of smell that she smelled on the human body in front of her eyes, with the smell of his soul and life. It's so delicious, so incredible that it's melting the tongue and heart together. She wants more of these ingredients. She wants to eat more. Ahu! Red Dragon Zaka grabs Yunshi's golden bread and takes a big bite. At the same time, she stares at Yunshi with a look that makes Yunshi feel very wary. She should like it very much. Yunshi is still confident in his highest masterpiece, which is the golden bread that even the Twin Witches and the Golden Crow Princess praised. Just, why does she look at him so covetously? Seems to be more than just eating the delicious bread. Yunshi has seen this kind of eyes in the pupil of Desert Dragon Zaka. They really are sisters of the same family. They are also very similar at this point. She bit Yunshi's golden bread in a wild animal way. Red Dragon Zaka revealed her small fangs, which could even crunch steel. Unimaginably delicious. That is a wonderful feeling from the tip of the tongue to the depth of the heart. Not only taste but also vision, touch, hearing have been greatly enjoyed. While biting the bread, it seems that she can see countless golden brilliance wrapped in herself. It is so warm and so comfortable that the fatigue after the battle with the Twin Witches disappeared without a trace, and even her toes were stretched straight because of strong stimulation. Ah, there is such delicious food in the world. This is Red Dragon Zaka's exclamation, and at the same time, she can't help hesitating again. How about raising this human as an edible pet? Eat him a little bit every day, and eat a little more in the festival. If I can't eat him every day, then lick him every day to meet her appetite. Whether he is poor or rich, health or disease, she will protect him, take care of him, and regard him as her most important treasure. On sunny days, she would take him out for a walk. On rainy days, she would let him lie on her feet and lick her toes. When eating him, She will try to be gentle and careful and will not hurt him. Well, it seems to be a good idea. Why don't I do it like this? Yunshi is staring at Red Dragon Zaka, who is eating his bread at a not ladylike at all speed. Isn't this exaggeration? Have you been hungry for several days and nights? Gee. After swallowing the last piece of bread, Red Dragon Zaka stared at Yunshi with a fierce look. The atmosphere, for a time, became particularly dangerous. Correct, as the benefactor who saved my life. I give you the noblest position in the world. You, be my pet. Huh. Yunshi looks at Red Dragon Zaka with a look of, what's wrong with the world? Sure enough, Zaka's thinking loop is not right. Why? It's just a piece of bread. How can it make you think this way? What dissatisfaction do you have? As a reward for saving my life, I have been extremely tolerant. What is your dissatisfaction? To be my pet, you can have everything you want, cough. That proposal is not counted in. Red Dragon Zaka's face turned red. It was thoughtless of her that she said any wish could be realized just now. Wealth, status, princess, you can have them all. As long as you are my pet, you can have them. When necessary, let me have a taste. Speaking of this, Red Dragon Zaka feels hungry again. Without that mysterious ingredient, she would die. I can give you bread, but I won't be your pet. Yunshi looks at the wayward Red Dragon Zaka and takes out his precious golden bread. Ahu! With a flash of red shadow, the bread in Yunshi's hand only survived in the air for 3 seconds and then entered Red Dragon Zaka's mouth. This bread, not bad at all. Red Dragon Zaka had long forgotten her original intention. Bang! 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 The flower that makes up the heart releases waves of joy and happiness that spread throughout Zaka's body. A heart can change everything. Red Dragon Zaka, with a new heart, also has a different sense of taste, smell, and touch. That's why she couldn't resist the smell of Yunshi, and she didn't know anything about it. Be my pet. I'll take good care of you. After enjoying the bread tribute full of Yunshi's ingredients, Red Dragon Zaka began to pester Yunshi, constantly trying to persuade him to become her pet. No, Yunshi didn't intend to be this girl's pet. As a man who has married 2 Zakas, he knows better than anyone the horror of Zaka, which can easily destroy the existence of heaven and earth. Why? Be my pet. You can have everything. As long as you always accompany me, you can be happier than the king of mankind without doing anything. Red Dragon Zaka doesn't know what the meaning of giving up is. She had never met anyone who would refuse her. She's Zaka. She's a confident and proud dragon. She doesn't allow the world to have things she can't get. If Yunshi didn't taste so good, she wouldn't let him be her own pet. Her initial preparation was to give him 10 years of free life, and then bite him to death. I don't need that desire, and being your pet doesn't do me any good. Yunshi felt that his 4 princesses had already made him suffer enough. If he entangled with this Zaka, he would be doomed. So now, it's best to separate. My disobedient pet should be punished. Red Dragon Zaka had never been so angry in her life, and she revealed her fierce look. Even if she can't become a real dragon, she has 100,000 ways to solve Yunshi. Dragon Eye. With one hand on her left eye, Red Dragon Zaka's vertical pupil releases an amazing amount of pressure, causing the surrounding temperature to rise in a straight line. The power of Dragon Eye completely blocked Yunshi's body and formed a huge cage. Be my pet or die. It's a powerful declaration, but it's strange that Yunshi don't feel the pressure at all. Gee, Red Dragon Zaka's Dragon Eye has not lasted for 3 seconds. With a burst of chest pain, her whole body froze. How can the flower that makes up her heart, the gift from Wolfji, let her hurt Yunshi? It is the part missing from the other side of the starry sky, the fragment of the highest wing. You bastard! What curse have you laid on me? Red Dragon Zaka, who was aware of her heart mutation, raised her right hand. A huge dragon claw shadow appears behind her. Even if she can't change back to a real dragon, Zaka has the power to destroy the earth and the sky. However, she had just left Yunshi about 2 meters away, and suddenly she had a spasm and her body had a whirling fall. At the same time, Yunshi also felt something wrong. He raised his fingertips and saw a faint, transparent green silk thread connecting himself to the heart region of Red Dragon Zaka. The line is about 1 meter long, almost the same as Red Dragon Zaka's height. Yuan-Shi vaguely remembered when his palm left Red Dragon Zaka's chest, he saw this line. It's just why the line, which had already disappeared, suddenly appears again. Jie, how painful. My heart, Red Dragon Zaka gasped. The originally beating heart almost completely stopped. This feeling, it's almost the same as the time when the witch in white wiped out her heart. Only, such a little distance? Yuan-Shi looks at the line connecting his fingertip and Red Dragon Zaka's heart in amazement and instantly knows the meaning of this line. It's the distance of Red Dragon Zaka's life. If Red Dragon Zaka goes beyond the distance of this line, the flower in her heart will not work. This flower is not a thing of the world, but a miracle condensed through Yuan-Shi's body. If Red Dragon Zaka left beyond the limit of the distance, she would be dying. If the time be longer, she would really die. For Yuan-Shi and Red Dragon Zaka, the 1 meter distance is like a line between life and death. It's like a curse that connects two lives. Walking to Red Dragon Zaka, who looks like she will die in a moment, Yuan-Shi hesitantly puts his hand on her chest and feels the warm, meat-steamed bun again. Bang! Red Dragon Zaka's heartbeat was restored instantly. Puha! Even her breath stopped for a time. Red Dragon Zaka breathed out her breath and looked at her chest with fear in her eyes. Then her expression became extremely complicated. She feels angry, of course. She feels fear too. Just now, she almost returned to the embrace of the original dragon, just like her sisters. After confirming the recovery of Red Dragon Zaka's heartbeat, Yuan-Shi's hand immediately left her chest. However, the warm and elastic hand feel could never be forgotten. How can there be such a curse? Red Dragon Zaka quickly understood what had happened to her. The distance of only 1 meter has become the boundary between life and death. As long as she leaves this distance, the flower in her chest will no longer move, which is equivalent to her heart stopping. Although the heart formed by this flower is an accident, for the proud Red Dragon Princess can only live in a distance of more than 1 meter from a human is the cruelest punishment in the world. Sorry, I can't help it. After confirming the limit distance of the invisible transparent line, Yuan-Shi shook his head helplessly. The power that unites the heart of Red Dragon Zaka's heart is not his own power but the blessing of Wolf Ji. This flower has saved Red Dragon Zaka from the brink of death, replacing her original heart and tying her to his side. If Red Dragon Zaka leaves the limit distance of this line, her heart will stop suddenly, which is the price of her resurrection. With this line, Yuan-Shi can easily control the life and death of Red Dragon Zaka. As long as she crosses the limit distance, she will die. Of course, Yuan-Shi would not have made such a choice. After all, she is the sister of his 2 princesses, the 3rd Zaka. However, he did not know what to do. The flower in the heart of Red Dragon Zaka was not something he could make. This flower from Wolf Ji is a blessing to him, but a curse to Red Dragon Zaka. The existence of this flower maintained her life, but also tied her firmly to his side. I don't believe it. Obviously, she was on the verge of death again, but Red Dragon Zaka was not willing to lose, so she turned and ran. As a result, the familiar scene appeared. Only 2 steps away from Yuan-Shi, Red Dragon Zaka fell down. Her whole body twitches, her eyes are blank, the function of the heart part is completely out of order, the blood is almost coagulated. She is almost as rigid as the corpse. Without the operation of Wolf Ji flower, Red Dragon Zaka, who has lost her heart, is half a dead person. In this state, she is only a layer of paper away from death. In addition to her warm body, she can hardly move her fingers. If Yuan-Shi wants to do something to her at this time, he can do whatever he wants, and she can't even call out. No words can describe Red Dragon Zaka's mood now. Yuan-Shi once again pressed Red Dragon Zaka's plump and elastic, meat-steamed bun, activating the flower that had automatically entered the dormant state again. Bang! Although it's only 10 seconds, it's like going back from the border of death for Red Dragon Zaka. At the moment of dying, Red Dragon Zaka recalled her life. The darkness in the dragon egg, the joy of birth, the excitement when hearing sisters' voices. When she recalled her sister's last words before going to the human kingdom, the world suddenly returned to color. Hearing the sound of her heartbeat again, even if she knew that it was just a fake thing, Red Dragon Zaka was full of gratitude for life. It's wonderful to be alive. Even if it is the curse of living, it is also 100 times better than death. No, 1,000 times. That silent world of endless darkness is really terrible. Ha ha! Red Dragon Zaka, who touched death for the 3rd time, finally learned her lesson. Leave this human side. She will die. This is the blessing and curse given by Lvji's flower. Her life, from the moment her heart was replaced by this green flower, was bound to Yunxi. Yunxi is alive, and she will be alive. Yunxi dies, and she will die too. The invisible but real line, like the shackles of fate, tied the powerful red dragon Zaka to Yunxi. She can't hurt Yunxi, who can do anything to her. She doesn't even have the right to escape. The last gift left by Lvji is such a wonderful flower. It is not limited to Red Dragon Zaka, but any powerful creature who appears around Yunxi and is seriously injured. Lvji's blessing is to give Yunxi a powerful guard, or pet. Red Dragon Zaka is determined to let Yunxi, who smells good, become her pet, totally unaware that the positions of both sides are actually opposite. The heart is replaced by Lvji's flowers. The thread connecting life is wrapped around Yunxi's fingertips. She is the pet Lvji found for Yunxi. Yunxi didn't realize it. He was just worrying. I have a giant dragon tied by me, and she can't leave the distance of 1 meter. What should I do? This distance means eating together, sleeping together, bathing together. There will be no privacy between the two parties. Apart from Pafu, there is no other creature closer to Yunxi than Red Dragon Zaka. But Pafu is small enough to hide. Where to hide a dragon? Pafu seems to have heard Yunxi's heart thinking, and then find the seemingly delicious target. Pafu. In the laughter, Pafu jumps onto the depressed red dragon Zaka and goes straight into her chest. What is this? The great dragon, the red dragon princess, was knocked down by Pafu and suffered a shameful defeat. No. Red Dragon Zaka, who is seemingly fearless, made a cry for help. Yunxi couldn't believe that the tender and pitiful voice was from that strong and domineering girl who almost ate him just now. It seems that Pafu is just like the natural enemy of Red Dragon Zaka. No way. No, don't go in. Woo. Red Dragon Zaka, who is curiously pasted on the lower edge of her breasts by Pafu, shows a face that is totally helpless. If it is normal, the body of a weak creature like slime will evaporate before it gets close to Red Dragon Zaka, and it is impossible to touch the skin of Red Dragon Zaka. This weakness stems from an unknown secret of Red Dragon Zaka during the Dragon Egg period. It was a night when her sister, Desert Dragon Zaka, was born. One night when she went out to conquer the world, her dragon egg was wrapped by a slime that had accidentally entered the dragon's nest. Up to now, Red Dragon Zaka doesn't know how the transparent slime got into the giant dragon's nest and accurately found her dragon egg and covered it. It seems that Red Dragon Zaka's egg is very warm and suitable for slimes to absorb energy and split. For 3 days and 3 nights, Red Lotus Zaka's egg was occupied by this unsolicited slime and then gave birth to many small slimes. During this period, Red Dragon Zaka experienced the darkest moment in her life. Although the slime could not hurt her, the feeling of being swallowed by transparent and cold objects made her have many nightmares. Yes, Red Dragon Zaka has slime phobia, which has nothing to do with strength. It's a nightmare-like experience. Under normal conditions, no slime can approach her, and in this way, she completely blocks the intersection between slimes and herself. Until now, with Pafu pasted on Red Dragon Zaka's chest in its unique way of greeting, and began to draw the soft and full outline according to some instinct, so as to be used by the great artist in the future. Well, this is a good Pafu who works hard and keeps collecting data for the great future of its master. It's just that for Red Dragon Zaka, it's a complete nightmare. She stretched out her hands and tried to crush the uninvited strange slime, but just like when she wanted to attack Yunxi, the green flower in her heart was very intelligent in judging Pafu as an accessory of Yunxi, and she was not allowed to exert any force at all. As a result, the strength of fingers that could have crushed steel turned into feeble kneading, which was no different from kneading one's own chest. Pafu, Pafu. Pafu even took the initiative to enjoy the Red Dragon Princess's finger kneading and began to record more body data about Red Dragon Zaka. Everything is for the master's great art. Since it was used as a good-looking and practical doll-making tool last time, Pafu has been a very qualified artist assistant. Pafu don't play. In the end, Yunshi took Pafu back from Red Dragon Zaka's chest. Pafu, who has completed the task, constantly changes the shape and temperature in the palm of Yunshi and almost perfectly simulates the touch of Red Dragon Zaka's meat-steamed bread. Whether it is needed or not needed, it can ensure that the actual experience of Red Dragon Zaka can be restored 100%. By the way, while Yunshi was still in the palace, Pafu had completed the database establishment of the Queen of Assyria, White Moon, Desert Dragon Zaka, Ice Dragon Zaka, and all the girls of the Star Wings Knights. That is to say, as long as Yunshi wants, Pafu can simulate all the data of the girls, ranging from the size of the chest to the length of the toes, even the smallest details. Keep that monster away from me. Red Dragon Zaka gritted her teeth and looked at Pafu, who had disappeared under Yunshi's clothes, with an expression of bitter hatred on her face. She has never been so humiliated since she hatched out of the egg. Why hasn't slime disappeared from the world? When she was seen like this, she just wanted to kill people and wipe out all the evidence. The great master of fire, the Red Dragon Princess, will be afraid of slime. It is the deepest black history of her life. Pafu is not a bad boy. Yunshi is embarrassed to excuse his pet. In addition to mimicry and element absorption, Pafu has almost no special ability and can be regarded as the most harmless pet for a human. It doesn't even need Yunshi to feed. It can live by absorbing free elemental particles in the air. If necessary, it can also be used as a special armor. I hate you. Why did you come to save me? If possible, it should be at least the Prince of Mankind who comes to save me. Red Dragon Zaka is desperate about her future. The great Red Dragon Princess, even if she is about to die, still maintains her dignity and pride, but fell into such a pervert's hand. Not only this human is abnormal, but his pet is also abnormal. Why is it a slime? In this world, no one will take slime, the weakest monster, as a pet. It has no intelligence at all. It can only breed by instinct. It is a low-level monster that will not obey the orders of human beings. In contrast, she is a giant dragon at the top of the pyramid of the food chain, a red dragon princess destined to dominate the world in the future. Compared with the weakest slime, she is worthy of the name of the strongest legendary creature. No one would have thought that the biggest nightmare of the strongest red dragon princess is the weakest slime. With this weakest monster as a pet, this human is her natural enemy, and there is no worse result. She looks at Red Dragon Zaka and wants to say that the prince of the human kingdom is actually in front of you and has married your two sisters. However, considering that it's not suitable to tell the truth at this time, Yunshi thinks it's better to give this proud Red Dragon Princess a little hope. Worst of all, after being attacked by Pafu, Red Dragon Zaka's hostility to the human in front of her instantly reaches the maximum. The kind of eyes that seem to be cannibalism makes Yunshi unconsciously have the illusion that he is being watched by the most fierce beast. No, it's not an illusion. Red Dragon is the ultimate creature at the top of the food chain pyramid. Although Yunshi doesn't think she will really eat people, at this distance, there should be no chance to escape from the next dragon bite. Raising a monster that you can't control. Is that how it feels? However, this is a monster with a beautiful face, a proud figure, and whose identity is his princess's sister. Then, in this case, after deliberation, Yunshi felt that it was still necessary to improve the relationship between the two sides. He can't get rid of this relationship. Lvji's power is not within the scope of his understanding now. For a foreseeable period of time, he could only be with her in such a wonderful way. Not only was Red Dragon Zaka not used to it, but he was also a little nervous. From birth to now, even Huahua has never been so intimate with him. We'd better get along well. I'll find a way to change this situation as soon as possible. Gaho. Angry red dragon Zaka stares at Yuan Shi, walks up and bites Yuan Shi's arm. Originally, this was a ferocious killing with one hit, but unfortunately, under the condition of the contract, this seemingly fierce attack turned out to be like throwing herself into a trap. When she stepped on the ground, Red Dragon Zaka still had a bit of stateliness, but when she fell on Yuan Shi and bit his arm, the bite force was so weak that it could not even break a paper. Instead of biting, it's more like a big pet pouncing on its owner and licking its owner. Oh, don't move around. Yuan Shi helplessly looks at Red Dragon Zaka and feels the elasticity of the giant chest and the mouth that gently holds and bites his arm. He feels that it's like having a willful and coquettish pet. Woohoo! Red Dragon Zaka bites and bites. Since the arm is not good, she would look for a softer, more lethal place and bite it. Unfortunately, even if Yuan Shi allows her to bite the softest part of his body, it will not produce any damage value at all, but will give Yuan Shi a feeling of healing. As the sun sets, Yuan Shi looks at Red Dragon Zaka, who has bitten him for a long time and has soaked his clothes, showing a speechless expression. You really bite so tenaciously. This spirit is really like your sister, Desert Dragon Zaka. We have to leave tomorrow. Don't be so ridiculous. After touching Red Dragon Zaka's head, Yuan Shi closed her eyes, ignoring her strange expression of biting his fingers and licking him. Tired, really tired. He always feels that too many things have happened today. He really wants to sleep. Anyway, she won't really hurt herself. Let her stay by my side until I can solve this problem. What a shame. What a shame. Red Dragon Zaka couldn't believe her eyes when she looked at Yuan Shi, who was sleeping beside her. An angry dragon was sleeping beside him, and the human could sleep so sweetly. You will regret it. Red Dragon Zaka gritted her teeth and looked at Yuan Shi, who was in a dream. However, she could not help it. Her stomach made a sound of goo. Something's wrong. This is not right. She's not her greedy sister, Desert Dragon Zaka. How could she be hungry so soon? Not long ago, she had a full stomach. How could she be hungry so fast? Why, just looking at this human, her appetite and some other desire will continue to increase. Obviously, I hate this kind of abnormal human. Bang, bang, bang. She thinks so, but her body doesn't react that way. Her heart told her that it was a very, very delicious thing, a very, very beautiful thing, which made her want to get closer. Just try the taste, that's all. Red Dragon Zaka licks her lips. Why does she bite Yuan Shi? In addition to venting her anger, the smell that Yuan Shi has been emitting is also one of the important reasons, only she firmly refuses to admit it. Ahu! Like biting a piece of soft bread, Red Dragon Zaka bit Yuan Shi's body again. Soft and fragrant. It is not the taste of human flesh and blood at all, but another kind of taste that just would make her immerse in it. No. Zaka. Don't. Yuan Shi, sleepy, reaches out and hugs Red Dragon Zaka, who has bitten the wrong place. Woo! Before Red Dragon Zaka could resist, the flower from the heart region robbed her of her ability to move, leaving Yuan Shi at his disposal to explore her delicate body under her red dress. His hands skillfully untied the bow on Red Dragon Zaka's chest, and then grasped the upper edge of her proud mountain, gently kneaded and pinched. Ah well. Red Dragon Zaka's eyes were moist, and her body began to cooperate with Yuan Shi's hands. Why is this guy so familiar with my body? That's because, on the wedding night, your sister, Desert Dragon Zaka, was so shy and curious like you. With her feet kicking Yuan Shi's body, Red Dragon Zaka struggled desperately, but Yuan Shi seemed to have been familiar with the law of Zaka's resistance. Just turning over, he easily suppressed Red Dragon Zaka's tiny resistance. Smelling the familiar and strange fragrance, Yuan Shi gently sticks out his tongue and bites Red Dragon Zaka's ear. The moment Yuan Shi bit her ear, Red Dragon Zaka's whole body trembled, as if there were countless electric currents spreading in her body, and her resistance evaporated instantly. The tiny and lovely toes stretched straight at once, and her breath became short in an instant. The shy face was like the sunset glow in the sky. How did you know that this is my weakness? Naturally, that's because your sisters are like this. No matter how they resist, As long as I bite here, they will become obedient. Oh, don't. Well, even the sound of entreat is exactly the same. Which Zaka is it? Is it the curious, active desert dragon Zaka, or reluctant ice dragon Zaka, who would be excited only when she is with her sister? She had a strange dream. A dream about the wedding night with desert dragon Zaka, ice dragon Zaka, hot and hot, sweet and sweet. In the first half of the dream, it is exactly the same as the wedding night. To be exact, it was desert dragon Zaka taking ice dragon Zaka to his king's room at night, and then something happened. That's what happened the night she married 4 princesses. However, in the latter half of the dream, she found that Zaka's face became very familiar. It was not desert dragon Zaka, ice dragon Zaka, nor red dragon Zaka, but a face he would never forget. His childhood sweetheart, Hua Hua. Moreover, it is the Hua Hua that is showing terror and murderous look, with a huge magic weapon on his neck. Little Shi, you big fool. When the sword fell, Shi opened his eyes in cold sweat. Dream? Was it just a dream? Shi wipes the sweat off his forehead. Hua Hua doesn't exist in this world. Even if there is one, her identity should be an unknown young girl, just like the side quest of Brave Girl Fights Dragon before. Now, Shi can't face his first love. What happened in this trial is really bad. Gah, you bastard. Falling beside Shi, Red Dragon Zaka looks at Shi with a lifeless expression. The marks on her body are not caused by dew. Zaka's. How can there be so many ways to play with people in the world? This pervert is proficient in them. With only one hand, he can let her know that there are countless weaknesses in her body. Sobbing, I can't get married. I have been impure. Why are you sweating so much? Shi looks at Red Dragon Zaka and smells a very good smell from her. It's a kind of smell that people can't help but want to ravage, like the smell of Desert Dragon Zaka and Ice Dragon Zaka. Well, I can't think about it anymore. It's all your fault. It's all the world's fault. Red Dragon Zaka felt tears of humiliation. I'm really fed up with it. Why did I encounter such a pervert? Why wasn't the handsome prince in the story told by her sister Desert Dragon Zaka who came to save her? If the world is wrong, change the world. Shi shares Red Dragon Zaka's heartfelt complaint. The world of Dragon Trial is really too bad, and it may get worse and worse if I stay on. It's better to finish this trial and beat down the strongest dragon in the legend. Otherwise, he will no longer be a gentleman. The position of king is not suitable for him at all. Just seeing the 4 monster princesses in his own palace, Shi felt like he's walking on thin ice. Really, if he continues to be this king, his life will be very short. Right? The world is wrong. Not me. I will fight to the end. Red Dragon Zaka called out and bit Shi's arm. I'm not telling you to. Shi looks at Red Dragon Zaka hanging on his arm and felt both funny and annoyed. He doesn't know if it's an illusion. It seems that Red Dragon Zaka's ferocity has increased a lot, but Shi feels that her intimacy with him has increased. It wasn't just her. He felt better about her. Is it because the Zaka sisters are very similar? Shi looks at Red Dragon Zaka's eyes, face, and the outline of her chest and feels familiar. Her small ears, as well as the arc on her chest, can be easily depicted even with his eyes closed. If he had the materials in hand, he should be able to make puppets of the 3 sisters of Zaka, showing their own characteristics. Desert Dragon Zaka is a girl who comes and goes like wind with the wild breath of the desert. Ice Dragon Zaka is the crystallization of the ice and snow world for thousands of years, calm and confident. Red Dragon Zaka is a girl full of passion and strength, like a flame, proud and never knowing how to surrender. They all have their own characteristics, but in some parts, they are surprisingly similar, just like triplets with wonderful charm. In detail, even some of the body's contours have incredible similarities, almost no difference. Maybe I really have the artistic talent to be a puppet maker? Shi, who has finished modeling Red Dragon Zaka in his mind, began to seriously consider whether he would like to have a part-time job. No, don't look at me with that dirty look. Red Dragon Zaka, who found Shi staring at some parts of her body that he shouldn't have, showed an extremely angry look. Last night, It was this guy who, with his shameless hands, did something like this and that to her and let her step into the unknown world for the first time. Now, would he do more evil to her with that dirty look in his eyes? No, absolutely not. How can the proud red dragon princess yield to this abnormal claw? If he dares to do that again, she will spit at him. Dear, don't monkey around. Let's travel together. Yunshi always felt that now he seemed to be more familiar with the proud princess in front of him. Her anger's not so serious as it seems. Like Ice Dragon Zaka, who was cold and dismissive to him at first. After the wedding night, it seems that her attitude is still as bad as in the past, but the eyes have become a little soft. Red Dragon Zaka seems to have inherited some of the characteristics of the Zaka sisters. At first, they were very, very difficult to get along with. But if you can get familiar with them, you will find that they are actually straightforward girls who can't even lie. This is as like as 2 Ps of his childhood sweetheart, Hua Hua. When he first met Hua Hua, she was so indifferent and inhumane. She was more difficult to get along with than Ice Dragon Zaka, as if she had isolated herself from the world. In retrospect, at that time, he thought he had met the beauty of ice. That's when Hua Hua first came to the town, when Yunshi had not met Yili, Miley, Phyllis, and often played with other boys and girls in the town. The first time he saw Hua Hua, he felt like something was cutting her off from the world. Where does this lady come from? The first time they saw Hua Hua, they were shocked. They had never seen such a cold and beautiful girl. All over her body, there was a sense of not being allowed to approach. No one dared to talk to Hua Hua. The young girls born in the small town instinctively knew that she was a noble lady. Even if they scraped the edge of her skirt, they will be ruined. Yunshi is the only one who has the fearless heart of an ignorant person. He dares to talk to Hua Hua, who is not an ordinary person at a glance. As for the reason, Yunshi doesn't understand. He just feels that he can't leave Hua Hua alone in the street. In the end, Yunshi successfully entered Hua Hua's world and became her childhood sweetheart. It's just that Yunshi doesn't know why the original Hua Hua was so indifferent, and he never asked about such things. Naturally, a lady should have a lady's secret. Hua Hua has become his childhood sweetheart. That's enough. Hua Hua's past has nothing to do with him. What he likes is the one who is willing to smile for him and runs around the town every morning. Compared with the mysterious girl who can only appear in his dream, Hua Hua is a lovely girl who can be seen and touched and is close to him. With the opportunity of meeting Hua Hua, other childhood sweethearts appeared one after another. Without exception, they all had beautiful faces and special temperaments that were totally different from those girls in the small town, which made other children duel many times for them. Well, Yunshi didn't know about these things, because the kids finally found out in despair that Hua Hua, Miley, Yili, Phyllis were all around one person. That damn guy. Never eat his bread. Why are there such lucky guys in the world? Therefore, Yunshi inexplicably found that his former friends did not take him to play, which also made him sad for a long time. Later, he had to play with his childhood sweethearts. In Yunshi's eyes, Hua Hua is like a puzzle that can never be solved. Every time you feel you know her secret, more secrets come out. Why does Hua Hua, who has such a strong strength, always hide her real strength, and even now she has not stepped into the hero rank? Where does her flying sky sword come from? Why did she live in the remote town? The more he knows about Hua Hua's extraordinary features, the more Yunshi feels that it's his best luck to be her childhood sweetheart. It's really a miracle among miracles, and it's the luck of hundreds of millions of fortuitous superposition. Even though Hua Hua ordered him to put on the maid's clothes and went to school in the White Lotus Sword Palace, Yunshi did not refuse. She's a little tough, a little bit crazy, willful but gentle, cheerful and lively. She's like the sunshine in summer. She's always shining. This is Yunshi's childhood sweetheart, the invincible Hua Hua. Well, in this part of willfulness, Red Dragon Zaka has the essence of Hua Hua. Yunshi recorded how many fatal mistakes she had made since the two began to leave the volcano and head for the southern tribal region. Bite his arm, 35 times. Bite his ear, 47 times. Curse him to die, too many times, more than 3 figures. Accidentally ran out of the distance and put herself on the brink of death, 13 times. It is reasonable to learn something after looking for death 13 times in a row. At least she should know what to do and what not to do. In other words, if you don't look for death, death won't come directly to you. It's a pity that Red Dragon Zaka's head doesn't look so smart. It's more like a fool's indomitable spirit. As soon as she didn't pay attention to it, she didn't look at the road and ran into a big tree nearby. In an instant, her heart stopped and her eyes were straight. The Red Dragon Princess, who had the power to destroy heaven and earth, fell like a puppet about a Zaka away from Yunshi. Yunshi felt that if he didn't take good care of her, she would die countless times. It's the 14th time today that he sticks his hand on her chest and feels warm from his fingertips. CPR, go. Bang! With the press of Yunshi's right hand, Red Dragon Zaka's chest was first pressed down, showing an obvious fluctuation, and then it bounced violently, just like a lively rabbit. Pooha! Red Dragon Zaka gasps like a fish thrown back into the water and looks at Yunshi with an extremely bad look. Bite. Small teeth bite Yunshi's hand. It's this hand. It's this hand that always touched her chest. I bite. I bite. How many times does this damned hand insult her? Her chest has been rubbed by this hand many times, almost familiar with the contour and strength of this hand. It's useless. Yunshi skillfully pulls up the body of Red Dragon Zaka. Her human posture is not heavy at all. She can be lifted up gently, just like a large-sized doll. It's just that this doll is different from White Moon. It's very violent and always biting. If you create such a product as a puppeteer, it must be a big failure. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. In the face of Yunshi's arm, which can't even leave a scar no matter how many times she bit, Red Dragon Zaka showed her unwilling eyes. If you make any more noise, I'll let Pafa go. Looking at Red Dragon Zaka, which seems to be attacking again, Yunshi has to threaten her. You pervert, devil. Red Dragon Zaka was so scared that she let go. Only that one I never want to try. Is this human being the natural enemy of me? You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.